Hello, hello. Welcome, everyone. Come on
Hello.
in. How are we all doing? Welcome to the official LaunchBox Twitch channel for the end of a wonderful 12th celebration week. Hope everyone is doing well. There's two of us today. Fancy
There's
that.
two of us today. You got two of
Yeah,
us for the price of one.
two for one. Exactly. But it is Friday, favorite day of the week for folks in the US. I know a little bit longer, but everyone else, the weekend is already here.
It
And
is a
so it
long
is,
weekend for some of us. Is it a long weekend
of
there?
course. No,
Of
not for me,
course.
but
Oh yeah.
yes, it is for some.
It is.
Come on in.
It is for us here. So very excited about that.
Amazing. Let us know where everyone is joining from. If it's the middle of the night for our Australian friends, obviously for the US, we will be getting ready for that long weekend. But yeah, we did go from 11 to 12. It is the 12th anniversary of LaunchBox. Can you believe that? We've had a wonderful week. Thank you everyone who's taken part in the events, in the giveaways, if you picked up a license, and of course for joining the streams. We greatly appreciate it. And we're going to have a little bit more of a casual just hangout with folks today. We do have some fun things to go through, but for anyone who doesn't know us by now, my name is Astro Bob. I'm the community manager here at LaunchBox, and we have the wonderful Fairan. Do you want to introduce yourself?
Yeah, I am a Baron. Hopefully, that's enough. But to answer Angry Scotsman's question, Seabeats is a developer. Yeah, he develops the primary dev on the Windows version of LaunchBox. So you can send all your complaints to him, or celebrate with him as he develops Windows LaunchBox for Windows. I am the product manager here at LaunchBox. I've been here. I've been a fan. I've been using LaunchBox since 2016, and then joined the team. Oh, 5 years ago, something like that. So it's been a good solid half a decade so far for me, and we've been. I mean, it's been a dream type of job where you come in to work and you're working on something that you love to do, right? Because I was doing it in my spare time, creating themes and stuff over the years, all the way since I think I was starting themes in 2016, released my first theme in 2017, probably at the beginning of the year. I don't even remember which theme it was, to be honest. But
Been a while.
that is my history through LaunchBox, which probably sounds similar to a few other people, I'm sure, that have joined LaunchBox and started using it back at that point in time. And I just remember, even in my previous job, just showing off LaunchBox, showing off the themes that I was doing with other people. There was one point where, like, I took LaunchBox and put it on a giant projector screen, and I brought in 4 Nintendo 64 controllers and hooked it up. And just me and 3 other guys. Actually, it was more than that. We were like cycling through. I think we played 3 or 4 different games on the N64, and like GoldenEye, Mario Tennis, that sort of thing. And it was just
The
like
perfect,
the
the
best
perfect use
experience.
of a cinema
Best
screen.
experience, like a theater-based LaunchBox couch gaming experience. And that's what we're going to try to recreate today, I think, but
Yes,
across the pond between the two
absolutely.
of us.
Yeah. So just to give everyone an idea of what's going to happen today, like we said, the last couple of streams we've been setting out with a goal to sort of create some sort of build or things like that. Today's going to be a lot more casual. We are going to be asking and answering a lot of questions. We like to end off these celebrations with just a more sort of casual look into LaunchBox, not just as a company, but as sort of future plans for the product. Any sort of free-form questions, we are going to be putting Fayran on the spot here. I'm going to be acting as talk show host where I have full reign to grill him on whatever we want, which is going to be lots of fun. And of course, we definitely encourage lots of questions from everyone here. We're going to be doing something a little bit fun. We're going to be curating a playlist on stream as well, with plenty of ways to vote on different games. We're going to be talking a lot about games, and we're also going to be showing you some really fun things in LaunchBox with regards to co-op couch gaming across the globe. So questions, playlists, games, that's kind of what we're here for. It's going to be pretty free form. If anyone who's joined our streams, you know that we can definitely go off on tangents, but please feel free to jump in as we go through. So we'll get started in a second. Just some quick housekeeping things. So of course, this is we're coming to the end of our 12th celebration. So again, thank you everyone so much for the support and celebrating with us throughout the week. There will be, of course, one final secret code for the giveaway to boost your odds. But that will be revealed a little bit later on in this stream. So keep an eye out for that. And just looking at our Twitch channel here, we are currently at 1,984 followers, which is very close to 2,000. So everyone loves nice round numbers. So who knows? If we can get that up to 2,000, it would be a very happy way to celebrate the end of the week. I hope that sounds good. Will sound good, Farron?
It sounds great. And I think we got our first few questions. ED, I'll answer yours first. Is single sign-on a thing now? And the answer is yes and no at the same time. The single sign-on does work. It works, but it only works right now through our feature request system. So if you go to feedback.launchbox.gg, I think that's what it is, right?
That's
yeah.
Right.
You can sign in to that service through the games database. Now, what Josh was working on quite a while ago was where he, like, the end goal of all of that work is to make it so we just have like one sign-on with the goal that not only would we have one sign-on right now, for people that know, we've got two different optional accounts that you can have, right? You've got the forums, which has its own sign-on thing. You've got the games database, which has its own account system. And one of the goals is to, combine those into one. There's not a lot of like user reasons to do so. It would just be nice, right, to just have one. The main reason why we wanted to create that whole thing was that, our dub, even though some people think that they have a LaunchBox account that houses their license, you don't. Like our regular website where you purchase the license and do all that stuff is separate from all the other two optional accounts that I just talked about, and doesn't have an account system. So like one of the driving forces for creating a single sign-on is that then we could use that to also have it working on our normal website, which then we could build tools to kind of link your license to that. And once that is done, then the goal is like we can basically make everybody's lives a little bit easier by making so like, well, you could just sign into that account in the app, and then it just sets your license, right, without you having to do anything, which is marginally easier than having to find your license file and like placing it in the LaunchBox folder for the first time. And so
it's an ongoing
lots of
thing,
effort for
course,
that. It is ongoing, yeah.
Yeah, the goal is to have a single account where you can manage everything. Of course, there are various third-party services that we use, like our feature request platform is powered by a system called FeatureBase. We have our forums, which is a separate service, and it really depends on if those platforms support single sign-on. The only account that we obviously maintain ourselves is the games database account, and of course that's the one that we intend to be used as the primary home for LaunchBox information. We can hook into those third-party ones, but thanks for the question there. So please do keep them coming. we'll continue to keep an eye on the chat. But we're going to start off probably the first sort of 45 minutes or so with just having a chat and some questions. Many of you know us already, but yeah, we're going to dive a little bit into some specifics of LaunchBox. And like I said, I have full reign to grill Farron here on all the tricky questions. So
You said it was going
we've
to be
got some juicy ones
casual and
prepared.
nice.
Well, I lied.
Now you're going to grill me. Before they start zooming up the screen, and you guys have already started asking all these questions, I can just answer some of these very quickly to catch us up before we go into our little thing. JC Strainer, you're asking if a ROM manager is going to be included in LaunchBox. We've talked about it at length internally. And so for people that don't know, LaunchBox is a agnostic, like file agnostic importer. Like that's for the most part, that's how it works. And so to kind of shove some sort of requirements inside of our import logic probably doesn't make sense. We could do it somewhat, and hey, we've done it a little bit for like MAME and that sort of thing. But to be like, hey, if you, and we've talked about it might be beneficial if you're using a no intro set or something like a TOSEC set or some sort of set, a redum, that maybe we can provide you some filtering capabilities when you do a login. Now, what you're talking about specifically is, hey, I've got an old set and I want to know if a new set has something that I would want. And so that's what ROM managers do. You've got your files, you've got a database file essentially of the most recent version of a particular set, and you want to compare the two and say like, well, these are the ones that you're missing. And it could also be used to filter stuff out. And so what I feel like is that that's an amazing plugin idea, because it would have to be a separate tool, right? It would have to already be a tool that basically does that, compares whatever's inside of your LaunchBox to a database file, and then gives you some sort of output that basically says, this is what you're missing. And so like somebody could build a tool, release it. I mean, that's what the plugin system's kind of for, are these kind of very specific use cases that somebody could create this tool. And hey, maybe it's a tool that we could create internally like at some point, but we haven't, like that's basically where we stand right now. Anyone could create it, and maybe somebody will before us, and it would essentially be, I guess, the same thing as just having a ROM manager outside of LaunchBox as having a ROM manager inside of LaunchBox. I guess the benefit could be that it could read like the games that you have installed, which is marginally better than just reading the folder that you have your games in, which also would work too. So that hopefully that answers that question.
Yeah.
There was one other question that I'm forgetting.
Let's save the iOS and Mac versions. So focus break, just because we are definitely going to talk about platform support later on. So why don't we save that and we can talk about it all at once? Because not just Mac OS and iOS, but of course other platforms beginning with the letter L that I'm sure a lot of people are very, very curious about. So let's save that and spend some time talking about platform support a little bit later on. But if that sounds
Focus
good.
break denied.
And I promise we'll be nicer to the Engage today. Sadly, no games in the bucket to play on Engage. But,
I can't promise anything.
We'll be nicer. That was all fair, and I was always quite a fan of the Engage. Okay. Let's go ahead and get started. And of course, this is pretty freeform, but why don't you, before we quickly get started, why don't you quickly recap to folks on the stream about the giveaway? Of course, we have the code that's going out, and I was just curious if you could win one of those prizes, which one would you like to choose?
If I could win one of these prizes,
yeah,
I would love to have one of these controllers, 100%. I don't know if
That's
anybody's
great.
looked into these controllers, but they
A
look
mini
really awesome.
computer. Yeah, I guess it depends. If you already have a machine, it's more for like an extension to that with a controller. Maybe you have a primary machine and you want an Android with the RP5 to go on the go. Got actually my RP5 right here, literally right next to me, which is
There you go.
highly recommended. Highly recommended. I actually bought it specifically for getting LaunchBox on Android. So yeah, that'll be nice. Whoever ends up taking that. But of course, you can pop into the giveaway once our code goes out. And boost those chances. But yes, it
Yeah.
sounds like the mini PC is going to be one of the more popular ones. All right, so I was something that I just sort of assumed people might be curious about is we touched on our feedback site, and this is a fairly new concept. We talked about this on other streams, but for a long time now, LaunchBox used to use something called Bitbucket to manage bugs and technically feature requests. It was a little bit convoluted, not only because it required another login. You know, we talked about all the logins that are required anyway. So it required another login, and it got a little bit unruly over the years, just in terms of the amount of stuff that was in there that we weren't able to follow up on everything. And of course, you know, I've been in this situation. I know there's nothing more frustrating than writing a really concise bit of feedback, submitting it, and you never hear anything from the team. You just hear radio silence. All of your requests seem to go into a void, despite how many years and sort of times people request these things. So I just wanted to be honest and transparent about what actually happens when we receive this type of feedback. And of course, Farron, please chime in here. But of course, there are multiple ways that this comes through. Obviously, we have our Discord server, we have our forum. And just to outline how we consider these platforms, Discord is obviously more run by the community itself, and it's, you know, not just our moderators, but also the team, our users themselves who are sort of interacting with each other. And we try to help out on there where we can. It's certainly not the place that I would suggest to put through like really concise kind of bugs and features, just because it's very easy for stuff to get lost in that sense. Obviously, Discord's a very quick moving channel, and obviously, depending on who's there, it's not always the best place to keep track of that stuff. We do have the forums, which is what we primarily used for a long time. And again, I would highly suggest to use the forums for if you are looking for advice on more like workflow type of things. And the reason I suggest that is because then you can get people's opinions from the community. So it's like, hey, I'm thinking of building this LaunchBox build that tackles these systems, or you know, I'm thinking of trying to achieve this workflow. Does anyone have any advice? Has anyone tried this? Because the forum is a really good way to get other people's experience, right? Now, to try and alleviate people's bug reports going unchecked, what we introduced was this feedback platform. And so the feedback platform that Farron just had on screen there is essentially what we treat as an official channel for feature requests and bug reports. The feature requests are fully public, so when you submit one, you can see it. What will generally happen if anyone has submitted one before is we do try to flesh them out on our side. So you may see it's likely myself who will actually evaluate that request and actually flesh it out. And the reason we do that is just so that it's easier for other people to consume that information. Because the whole point of this feedback board is so that others can quickly see and vote on what they think is important. So we want to make sure that those requests are fully fleshed out. Of course, you may have a specific idea that we could kind of flesh out into a bit more of a broader feature. And so you may see that popping up. You may see some replies to say, hey, we've fleshed this out. But the feature requests are always they're always available. They're always there. We may not be able to respond to all of them, but everyone is able to see those. They are public on our feature request board. The other report is bugs. There are links to that through the app itself. There are links through the actual platform. And that's for us to be aware of issues. Now, I do realize it's frustrating when you submit these reports, and unfortunately, just because of the sheer volume, we're not always able to supply responses to every single one. But rest assured, we do receive those reports, and we actually have ways of aggregating those errors internally. Of course, you may receive responses from us to actually reach out and try and diagnose and work further with you. And those are between you and our team itself. So obviously, because it's a small group, we can't guarantee that we just are able to respond to everything. But the fact that you've submitted that in the first place is enough for us to be able to sort of aggregate those errors and figure out if there's an issue. Of course, if it's something that's blocking you, if your build is broken, if there are errors, we will always try and work with you to resolve that. But it's just to set the expectation that unfortunately we can't always respond to every single one, but rest assured that we do process that and we are able to sort of use that to try and track down recurring issues or things like that. Does that sound about right, Farron? Anything you want to add to that?
You said a lot, so let me try to make it as simple as possible. Because it's tough. Like, how do you know whether something is a bug or like a user error or like a feature request? Like, how do you know? Like, you wouldn't know. And so what I would recommend is you start off, if you're wanting to have a conversation, if you're wanting to have somebody respond, the best chance that you have at that is to use the community forums, because the community forums is not just us, right? We can't be everywhere, we can't answer everybody. So if you want a response, like you can go straight to the feedback forums, but we cannot, like Astro Bob saying here, can't respond to everybody, and it's just us there. That's it, and until you can make it live and that sort of thing, if it becomes a feature request. But if you have a problem, you can start off there and you can kind of get a sense for what kind of thing it is, right? I just had somebody who would basically posted on the forum saying that that this could be a bug, but that the games that he's importing into LaunchBox aren't appearing in Big Box. Like, maybe this is a bug, I don't know what I'm doing, I checked all the hide settings, I don't have like hide of anything anywhere, I don't have anything like that, and here's a video of me showing it off, and I had to get the user's data. I won't out the user, but I got the user's data, and it turns out that he had a hide setting on that he manually turned on. And then when I told him that's why, you said you didn't have a hide setting on, but you have a hide setting on, and here it is. And he's like, oh yeah, I did that. Yeah, I remember doing that. And that fixed it. And so if you jumped straight to the feedback forum and tried to create, put a bug report in and say, hey, like, my games aren't appearing in Big Box, but they're in LaunchBox and this is a bug and it's going through that, like, we might never even get to that because of the sheer volume and just the few people that are on the, like, in that system. And so it's always good to start over there. And then from that point on, it's like, okay, there's differences between, let's say, a bug that you think is a problem in LaunchBox or Big Box, or a crash report. Right? Having a crash report is something that is different than just like, I think this is a bug. Crash reports automatically get sent to us. We don't need anybody to send us a crash report. However, what's important about a crash report that you could send in is the context around why you got that. So like, if you got it and then you can write a story in that bug report that says, here's the crash report, these are my hardware specs, and this is the version of LaunchBox, all that stuff. I was doing this in Big Box with this theme, trying to do this part through this navigational workflow. That helps us, because then we can kind of recreate what you were doing to get that crash report. Sometimes crash reports are very easy and we'll be like, okay, well, that's explaining what's happening. Sometimes they're not. We know what's happening, we have no idea why, like what you did to get to that point where it's crashing. So the context around that is what we want more than the crash report. So if you're thinking about just like submitting a report with no context, well, we already have that, so it doesn't really help us. And we might just for organizational sake, just like clean up reports like that over time inside of our bug report system. Right? And then you got feedback. Even if you're like, I want this feature, before going to our feedback, go to the forums and say, I would love to have this feature included in LaunchBox. And you can have a discussion over there. And the reason I would say that is because people oftentimes create feature requests that are already features in LaunchBox. That is a thing that does happen, which is okay. But it's better to have that over on the forums than it is to try to like release a feature request of a feature that already is a feature over on that, because it might end up going, you might never know that it's a feature because you don't have like the entire community on the forums that can tell you like how to use it. You just have, you know, one of us over on the feedback forums trying to do that. Anyway, so hopefully that helps. Use the forums.
Yeah, so they definitely they have their uses, and I realize it may be confusing when, you know, there's all these places you can sort of get in touch, and of course anywhere is fine in the end. We'll always direct you in the most appropriate place, but hopefully it just sheds a bit of light on our inner thinkings behind the scenes, what happens, just because of course there are plenty of things that can go wrong with LaunchBox. We'll certainly bring that up a little bit later on. But yeah, hopefully that gives you a little bit of insight. Just to quickly run through some of these questions in the chat here, so thank you all. So for those asking about, good to see some support for the mini PC. Seems popular, of course. The secret code will be up on screen a little bit later on in the stream. There was some questions about Linux and iOS, and we said earlier, for those just joining, we're going to answer that very, very shortly about support on other platforms, so stay tuned. Yes, of course, wouldn't be a chat without plenty of talk about the N-Gage, so we'll leave that for what it is. I see folks trying to add the exclamation mark giveaway, because of course, yes, we did used to have licenses on some of our earlier streams where we would give those out. Unfortunately, that is not live for this current stream, because we have licenses to be won as part of the ongoing big sort of global giveaway. So if you're interested in a license, you can do that. Unfortunately, there aren't any up for grabs on this stream here.
Yeah, go to our Celebrate page. Let me see if can I type that in here? Let me do that. Hopefully that link works.
As Brentford says, I have a feature request which has already been made. Can I upvote or +1? Maybe, Brian, you can show this off quickly, but the way that if you submit a request on the feature site, it automatically adds I think it will ask you to provide some details in terms of the importance and the usage frequency. We do recommend being quite honest with that, because it's easy for everyone to say, like, I need it right now and I will use it every day. And that stuff, it's not like it bumps it up or down the list based on that. It's purely just as a sort of reference for how people use this feature, and it helps us sort of prioritize it internally. So please do answer that honestly. But yes, on the right-hand side of the post, you'll see a little up button where that's how you upvote it. But if you submitted the request already, it actually upvotes it for you. So you don't need to go and upvote your own requests, like it already counts as that. And of course, upvoting helps in the sense that it does help us gauge the popularity, and unfortunately it doesn't always guarantee that stuff right at the top of the list is what's going to be done next. Of course, it's just a gauge of interest that is on there.
I would say it's very important to go to this site if anybody has spare time and they want to kind of shape the direction of LaunchBox development in sort of a indirect way. This would be the way that you can do this. You could go to the website, you can click on one of the boards. So if you only care about Windows or you only care about Android, you can click on one of these to filter them out, just like that. And then you can kind of filter them in kind of any which way, new, top, trending. There's a whole bunch of filters here that you can use as well. And you can kind of go through them and look at the ones that you're interested in. And your votes really do kind of matter, because it kind of shapes which features become, higher on the list in the reports that we get. Right? Yeah, and for other people might be able to cohere, check the top list, and be like, oh, that's interesting. I kind of really like that. And if you read some of these posts, you could have discussions. For example, this "How Long to Beat" one, which is very top. I had made a comment basically saying, they do not want us to do that. And they do not have an API. And we reached out, and people keep voting for it. So it's good to hear that even though we literally technically cannot do this, people are interested in wanting to know how long a game takes to beat. And so maybe if enough people vote for that, we'll be like, okay, well, we know we can't do this, but can we provide people with a way that people will know how long something beats? Maybe we have to create our own system, or maybe we would have to use somebody else's system, because I know there's not just how long to beat. There's some other systems out there that I think do have public APIs, but with less content on there. Although a lot of these things like how long to beat and IGDB,
Yeah.
they are very much geared towards more modern games. So hey, maybe LaunchBox does need something. But anyway,
this is a perfect segue into my next question. So since we're talking about features and we're on the feature request board right now, I was just curious, Farron. I wanted to ask you, and I also want to ask the chat as well. So please put your responses in the chat. If you had a magic wand, the good old scenario that you could wave, and you could have any LaunchBox feature, what would it be that you could wish into existence right now?
That is a good one. I mean, and a lot of people could just say something small, like, especially if you're in the middle of doing a development or building out your LaunchBox build, and you run into something that you personally want, and it becomes like the one thing that you want at that moment, the one thing that you have to like, versus an actual feature that's like fully fleshed out and that people could use,
like pie in the sky.
Because I ran into that too.
I can go
where
first
it's
if
like,
you want to think about it.
It's like, I want this feature so badly, and then you get it and you use it once, and you're like, okay, I'm done using that tool. Thank you. It's like, it took us like a month to develop that. Okay, yeah. No, go ahead.
Well, I think about this a lot. I was a huge fan of the game progress functionality that came out a month or so back. And I personally am a big fan of sort of backlog tracking services. There's a lot out there. They're essentially services that aggregate a lot of your online gaming systems. And let's say if you play for achievements, for example, they'll aggregate all of your achievements across different platforms. And I like the idea of LaunchBox being the central hub for your entire gaming backlog, right? Whether you play for achievements or not, it's simply like, these are all my games. I like to be able to see stats on those. I love me a good old pie chart with some lovely stats. And we already do. We have like small stats in some of the game detail panels that show like number of games that you've completed, beaten, things like that. But yeah, it's really taking that to the next level with your sort of your gaming backlog dashboard. Imagine if you sort of log in and you've got all sorts of widgets and charts there to say, this is the amount of games that you have per platform, and this is the amount of time that you've spent, with some graphs that show you maybe your achievements over time, or your backlog playtime by platform, or essentially taking all of the data that we have in LaunchBox and of course it serves no purpose other than just self-gratification. Of course, there is a whole element you could do that makes it sort of public and as more of a service that you show off and compete with friends and things. I personally use it more just for the sort of self-gratification side of things, but yeah, I quite like that. I got really back into just checking off a whole bunch of games from the backlog with those new progression markers and just saying, I've got all these games that are unfinished. I'm just going to go and finish those off and see that backlog whittle itself down. So yeah, that's what I would pick right now, since I'm in that mood of game progress.
All right. So to summarize, you said you wanted some pie charts for self-gratification.
I guess so.
Did I hear that right?
I mean, it sounds weird when you say it like that, but it's more like your custom library metrics. I mean, MMO gaming accounts here says, yeah, so of course full metric data on things like your playlist, your games, your playtime. Um, you could even take it one step further, and it's metrics on custom fields that you could track. So I personally track my purchase history in LaunchBox. Games that I own physically versus digitally versus ones that I get from various subscription services. And I don't know, maybe it's just a me thing. I like having that sort of insight into my LaunchBox library is pretty much like my little gaming sort of treasure trove of everything, all the way back to like games that I owned as a kid, and tracking those purchases. And yeah, I like those kind of stats.
Yeah, so I mean, to take it seriously, you want a customizable statistic summarization dashboard that you can add whatever stats that you want to it and display it in different kinds of ways for basically anything inside of LaunchBox.
I guess it doesn't need to go as full ham as like everything. Of course, there are some stats that are more useful than others, like playtime and game count.
Well, the other option. So think about this. The other thing that we could do is find out what we can display like internally, and then have like a hard-coded list of how something would look on it. The problem with that is, let's say you love like the if you're adding your own stats, if you're adding your own fields, if you're using like custom fields and that sort of thing, and you're trying to like use LaunchBox in a more open way, well, now this new statistics dashboard thing will never be able to display that, because we don't know what custom fields you're using. We don't know how you're going to use it. We don't know what kind of chart should display in that stuff. So if we don't make it open and open-ended, like, would you be okay with that? Just like some hard-coded some stuff that we know is inside of LaunchBox, that we know is always going to present itself in this way, and then we can summarize that data on the dashboard.
For sure. I mean, anything is better than nothing. There's some really great suggestions here in the chat as well. Someone mentioned AI suggestions, and hold that thought, because I want to ask that question specifically. But yeah, of course, we talked a bit on the last stream about profiles. There's obviously a lot of support for profiles, and sometimes the sort of end goal of profiles can be a little confusing. But of course, it's everything that comes along with that, like restricting a certain group of games, maybe by age group, things like that. Profiles can, the extent at which profiles can be covered can be quite broad. I mean, we talked about that last time, but I see that a lot. I see a nice suggestion here again about tracking games that you may be missing from your library. So that sort of completionist mentality of you want to fill out the rest of the platform. I quite like that, and I think we attempted. The closest thing we probably have to this right now is the related games, because it shows you similar games from that platform. But of course, if we're looking for like a fully completed list, I'm assuming we'd need to pull that information from somewhere, right? And maybe it could be our games database.
That's a good question, because I actually want to know, MMO gaming, like what do you believe is your definition of complete, or your definition of missing? Like, are you okay with the fact that, hey, somebody released some game in 2025 for the Atari 2600? Are you missing that game now from your Atari 2600 library? How about if somebody just creates some homebrew of something somewhere at some point? Are you missing that? Like, are you the guy that needs to create that? Or is your definition smaller? Or it's like, well, maybe I'm actually looking for the Atari 2600 games that came out during the lifespan or era of that system. Maybe I don't care if it's unlicensed or licensed or whatever. Like, just that's the pile. Maybe that's your definition. Maybe it's something else. Maybe you don't want the release games. Maybe you have a pile of just homebrew games. That's your definition. What is, like, the problem is that there's no one definition of all that stuff. And so as somebody that needs to develop for all of those things, we have to be like, well, all of this stuff needs to be correct all at the same time, even though they're conflicting things of each other. And therefore, we have to figure out how they all can be correct all at the same time in a feature like that.
I love Edie's comment here about how Farron makes you really think about your requests. This is exactly why he's a product manager here, because of course someone has to do all the. You'd be surprised the conversations that we have where I might suggest something that to me feels like a very straightforward thing, and of course we go down these rabbit holes of like, but if the user thinks of it like this, and if we don't account for this, then we'll do this, and I mean that's why it's why he's so good at what he does, because we really do have to think about these. I just want to call out the game that's on screen as well right now. I'm a little bit delayed here, but Doki Doki Literature Club, if anyone's played that, I have this in my library. I'm quite honestly, I'm a little bit too scared to actually try it, but I really want to, because apparently it's really good.
Why?
But
Why are you scared to climb it? I did see it said horror on the bottom.
Yeah, I mean, it's one of those ones apparently that... no, I mean, I think that's part of the thing, isn't it? It's apparently it's one of those games that you really can't talk about it without like spoiling it. So, but yeah, anyone who's played it probably knows about it. But if they recommend it, even if I'm too scared to try it, then please tell me, because apparently it's really good. And of course, games scared to try. Maybe we should add that to our playlist topic later on.
Yeah, genre horror. I think that basically sums it up for me. But yeah, so vendor, and that could be either what, like a vendor of like a publisher, a developer. Do you want demos of games? Do you like, are you missing a demo? Are you missing a compilation that came out on a magazine that had the game on it? Are you missing prototypes of games that then became other games once it was released, but there's a ROM of that prototype that came out? Are you missing that game? Which games are on your list? Which games are not on your list? Essentially, you'd have to have a giant list of options that would somewhat filter this list down to your specific type of what you mean by that. Right? Because everybody's definition is something different than somebody else's, essentially. Anyway.
These are some good suggestions, though, so do keep them coming. But we're going to try and swiftly get through some other burning questions. I am going
and my answer to that question, cloud saves.
Cloud saves. And I think number 3 right now on the top requested features. And definitely would make much sense in this day and age, for sure. Obviously, lots to scope out and do for that, but a very good payoff. But I'm going to put you on the spot here, and just because we can.
Go ahead.
Of course, I have been on the receiving end of this. I'm going to ask a question that many people are maybe too nice to ask, but maybe have been thinking it, which is, why does LaunchBox sometimes release stuff that is broken? And, we've had our ups and downs in terms of issues with certain things in LaunchBox. One thing that comes to mind is the .NET 9.0 migration that happened, I think, around the beginning of the year. It was a bit of a painful release in just the amount of reliance in that code base, and we were discovering things past the fact, and plugins broke when it came out. And, of course, it's a fine balancing act, and we know that there are some issues with the recently released FFmpeg integration. It's kind of a work in progress type thing, but yeah, it's just to provide a look behind the scenes that, of course, we're not doing these things on purpose. Where, of course, sometimes there are features that we know is always going to be a sort of iterative approach, like the .NET 9 migration was obviously going to be a long-term thing with FFmpeg. It's not the default playback module, but it's something that is there that we can continue to work on. But yeah, it's really just to kind of provide a bit of clarity as to what happens when these types of things do occur, and what we do behind the scenes to sort of try and quickly address those as much as we can.
let's put this into perspective, right? There's different kinds of broken, right? When it's affecting you, that's all you care about. It's broken because I'm affected. But when you're looking at it from a holistic view, and you're looking, okay, well, 30,000 people have used LaunchBox, this version of LaunchBox. What kind of broken is it? Is this broken for everybody? Is this broken for all 30,000 people? I don't think we've had a release where that is the case. Where like LaunchBox is globally broken for everybody. And if we did, which I don't think we did, it would be easy for us to see that that's a problem, and then we would get it out, right? So that is the broken that everybody that is currently having a problem thinks that LaunchBox is in that state, and that's never ever the case. So then you have the other kind of definition of broken, which is like, it is broken for me for some reason.
Yeah.
And then those have different trails, right? Maybe it's broken for you because of some third-party plugin. Maybe it's broken for you. It basically can be summed down to, is it the user data that is the problem that is broken? So something that the user could do or the user was doing that caused it to break. Or is it something that the application did, some change to the application that caused it to break in that specific environment that the user is running it on? So there's that kind of broken. And that's the more
and that one's tricky, isn't it?
Specific one that you have. And let's just use ED like 13.23 bugs. The FFME or FFmpeg tricky one that just came about, because we can talk a little bit about that. Essentially, internally, like we have a lot of computers that we're running on. We have virtual machines. We've got, this machine that you're looking at right now, I've got a mini PC with no video card. This machine that you're looking at now has a video card, but it's like a 2070 or something like that. You've got, other machines over there, handhelds that have this or that, like another handheld, like that sort of thing that we can test on. And so when you're doing such a giant change, like, okay, we're changing this video playback engine that right now is causing problems inside a big box as we speak. So for people that are using it, that have decided that they're going to choose it, accept the terms that come up that say, like, this is probably going to freeze your machine. So they're going to choose VLC, they're going to accept those terms, and then they're going to load a theme, and that theme is going to freeze LaunchBox, and then they're going to come complain about that big box is freezing. And they're like, well, we know you accepted the fact that big box is going to freeze. And so we decided, well, FFmpeg is not freezing based on all these machines that we're testing across all of our team, and we release it. And then we start hearing reports, well, it's crashing, I can't even open big box. And at this point, like, what we're thinking is, well, we know it's not global because we are all using it internally. So what is it about all these people that are having the problems that's like part of a pattern that we can identify? And it was within a day or so that we said, okay, everyone that's having this problem, for the most part, is on a 30 series NVIDIA video card. I'm like, that's weird. Why is it only affecting the 30 series? We have people on the team with a 40 series. We have people on the team with a 20 series. We have people on the team with a 10 series. We don't have anybody. Actually, we did have somebody on a team with a 30 series. I'll get to that. Well, he's not part of the Windows team. It's actually Andre, part of the Android team. And so once we started hearing that, I was like, okay, maybe it's something to do with the 30 series, but why? And then we learned that NVIDIA was messing and mucking around when the 30 series came out with their drivers on video hardware accelerated playback of video files. They decided to try and reinvent some of the wheel that they're trying to like expand, and they screwed up. And it's still broken, apparently, if you have a 30 series. For some of these hardware accelerated video playback stuff that we were trying to use. And that's what was causing the problem. So it's very specific, very driver related. And then once we learned that, and then we learned that, okay, well, like Andre on the team has one of these devices. He was kind enough to let me remote into his computer, and we could see what was happening with his 3060 or whatever he had, and we were able to fix it. And so and then we released sort of a beta. Now, in the meantime, we capture all these other environmental specific issues. So when we say why does LaunchBox come out with issues that I specifically have on my computer, that's essentially why. Right?
Yeah, and I do want to highlight as well that
I do have some weird static here, sorry. Do I still have the static? Anyway, so...
Yeah, it's worth pointing out as well that we will always try and make new updates in a way that is fully possible to roll back to previous ones, even when we introduce new concepts like the game's the game progress tracking, for example. What's happening is in the XML files under the hood, it's actually still retaining the old sort of completion values so that you can roll back. Another example is the SQL database upgrade. Although we introduced that concept, you were still able to roll back to the previous version, and yes, you would then have an SQL database that is not doing anything, but the reason we do that is to allow that safety net of being able to roll back in case.
One thing that you should know, just technically, sorry to interrupt you there, LaunchBox and updates never delete any kind of user data at all. Anything inside of the data folder, anything inside of your images, anything inside of manuals folder, all those folders we never touch on purpose. We specifically say we're not touching them, even though it has caused confusion sometimes when we don't touch them. For example, platform icons used to be in an images folder and then a folder called platform icons, and then we created a media pack system that makes it easier to use, have multiple packs of these things. But because up until that point, platform icons could be swapped out at any point. You could have a custom platform icon folder right now on your computer, back before that update. We couldn't just delete all of those platform icons for you, so we migrated them into a new pack for you, and then left those files where they were because we didn't want to touch them. We wanted to make sure that if you were ever to roll back, that those files were still there for you, or else you would end up just being well, I rolled back, where are all my platform icons, or where are all my badges? They're also in an image badge folder. And so that caused some issues for people, saying well, I still have an images badges or an images platform icons folder, and there's all these icons in there, nothing's happening. And it's well, they're there because we specifically don't touch this stuff for you, even though we don't use it anymore.
Yeah, and I think it's fair to say that we could certainly do a better job when it comes to documenting that kind of stuff, but I guess...
And that one was, I'm pretty sure, documented. So
exactly.
Take that for what
so
you will.
It's more about ensuring the flexibility to do those rollbacks, even at the expense of having some leftover files. We do think it's worthwhile in the long run. But yeah, I hope that provides a bit of context for anyone who was curious. I do have two more questions I want to ask you, and then we'll move on to some playlists, but these are going to be fun ones. And of course, I think the big old question that everyone loves to ask every year, or if not every other month, is of course platform support. And when we talk about platform support, most people are talking about, a version of LaunchBox that runs on an OS that is not Windows or Android. Obviously, the most popular one is Linux, and a lot of that comes from the ability to then run it on the Steam Deck. But of course, there were people previously talking about macOS, iOS. Of course, these platforms of macOS has always been all right for emulation, but iOS recently has opened up, and now RetroArch is on iOS, and so we've certainly seen more requests on that end. But yeah, of course, I think it's probably the most requested feature, which is some version of LaunchBox that runs on uh, Linux specifically, but essentially different OSs. So can you talk us a little bit about what we've been doing over the past year and where we stand with this?
Well, the first thing that I'll say is that our current application is so engrossed uh, in the Windows ecosystem. So the .NET Windows ecosystem. For people that know things like, I think when the application came out, it was a WinForms application. For people that don't know what that is, yeah, it's a very old user interface, legacy deprecated platform that Windows had created, and Jason, that was, I guess, his specialty, and he created it in that. Eventually it was migrated to WPF, and sort of that's like where we stand, but it's kind of like a hybrid of a whole bunch of different UIs, from old menus that we've decided that don't really need to be migrated over to WPF are still WinForms, and like all sorts of stuff going on. And to move that to Linux is essentially not an option. I mean, it was an option, and there was a time a few years ago where we looked into that possibility, only to come up like like there was places that had claims of like, well, if you have a WPF application, well, just click these buttons and use our software, and all of a sudden, boom, it's cross-platform. And what we found is that LaunchBox pushes the limits. Like, WPF is not really like a platform that is for what LaunchBox is doing with it. I think it mostly was like a business application platform that you would be like writing business tools in and stuff like that. And so we're really pushing the limit. So when we went to these companies and be like, hey, like we got a WPF software, and you're claiming that we can be on Linux with like a few clicks. And so we did it, and just like everything was broken. And then they're like, oh yeah, well, we can't do, like, the one thing is like, oh, well, we can't do like the lists in Big Box, the wheels. Yeah, like you can't bring that with you. It's like, well, that is Big Box. Like, Big Box is the lists of games. Yeah, you'd have to like redevelop all this stuff. And we're thinking, okay, none of this is actually going to work. It actually would be faster to write something else from scratch. And so, as of today, that is the path that we're working on. So behind the scenes, we are working on a brand new program that basically says, what if LaunchBox came out in 2025? How would we have wanted it, like, without any of the baggage? How would we have wanted it to perform? How would we want the UI and the UX to look, and all that stuff? And some of that stuff has bled through into the current version of LaunchBox. So you'll see like the new welcome wizard. There's a different style. Well, that's the style that we're kind of running with this new application, and sort of like bled through in our current application, so that we kind of get two birds for one stone type of thing. And so we are on the path to have something that was built specifically to be platform agnostic. But just because, like, how does that work technically? So we can build maybe 70 or 80% of the software as just platform agnostic, just doesn't care what platform it's on. But then that other percentage will require that it's very specific to that platform. So let's say somebody wants Linux, for example. Well, now we have to go through every single of our emulators, all that stuff, and figure out, how do you download, how do you configure these emulators, how do you Like, what are the differences between those emulators over here in Linux versus emulators over here in on Windows, and create very specific workflows just for Linux, and then create very specific workflows just for Windows, and create very specific workflows just for like the other parts of platforms, and that is a significant amount of work as well. And so, what you guys will see is that you'll see that we're going to come out with some sort of piece of software that is going to target one platform at the start, but that the whole foundation of it was created so that it can be cross-platform. And then at that point, if somebody says, why don't you go on this platform, it's not an insurmountable amount of work. Like, it's still a good chunk of work, but it's not like I have to do everything over
Not like starting
again.
from scratch again.
Yeah, which is essentially what we've been having to do. And so along the way, we're trying to do things in a more modern and nice way, and kind of like nitpicking everything that we're doing and trying to make it better. We're not trying to just port LaunchBox. And we're doing it with a performance first mentality.
Yeah, there's a good question here about
there you go.
Is the plan to forever maintain a .NET version for Windows and a cross-platform version for everything else, or eventually merge everything into one like uniform system?
Well, it might be the wrong question, because .NET is now cross-platform. So the new application is still .NET. It's still C#, but because that is now actually cross-platform. What is not cross-platform is WPF, is the UI layer, is like all of the way that C# would have to interact with some sort of thing that you're interacting with. And so we have to use a different technology completely that then interacts with .NET in a way that gives us enough power there in a performant way. And so that's basically what we're doing.
Andrew Speck says, can you show off what the Linux version looks like now, if it compiles?
It's still a work in progress, I'll tell you that. I mean, for you guys, let me see what I can show off.
Yeah, and while you look at that, so of course we do understand that there aren't that many platforms in this space out there. I mean, heck, it's 12 years now, and of course most software comes across this point where you find that just in terms of how rapidly the technology has advanced, you hit a point where the technical debt ends up slowing you down, and you have to make that decision of, do we spend the investment to upgrade the existing stack, or is it really something that is it worth just building something from scratch? And so we know that there's frustration. Like every year, people ask us like, "Oh, we heard about this like years and years ago," and of course, we know it's frustrating because Linux is becoming a lot more popular in that space, and not just Linux but other OSs as well. And we're grateful that people like LaunchBox, and we hear comments about people saying, "Oh, LaunchBox is the only reason I'm still on Windows, and I would love to move to this OS of choice if I could take LaunchBox with me." So we do appreciate that. But yes, of course, we've definitely hit that point where the technical debt is pretty high in terms of completely supporting other OSs. So yeah, we certainly don't take it lightly, and there's a lot of work that's been done already, and still much left to be done. But hopefully that sheds a bit more light on what we've been doing in the past year or so.
Now I'm only going to show up an image. This is just a concept image. This can change.
Big disclaimer.
Yeah. This is nothing that and I'll only keep it on there for a little while.
It's a little bit small.
It is a little bit small, isn't it?
But I mean, straight away you can see there is that unified design language that the Welcome Wizard borrows from, even in things like the newsletter and some of the websites as well. We do have some great folks who are looking at trying to modernize some of the UI aspects of LaunchBox. But yeah, well, continue
And
to hold us to that and keep us on our toes with this. And of course, we appreciate everyone bearing with us. It's always nice to hear that folks remain with LaunchBox, even if it is on your platform of not your choice. But yes, everyone is working very hard to try and change that. But thank you for that, Fairan. Let's quickly. So what I'm hearing is that this is launching next week. This is where the section gets clipped, and we see news articles coming out. And not that we're that famous to warrant. I mean, news articles. I mean, that would be nice if that does happen. But okay. I want to switch gears a little bit. Please continue to chat away about that. But before we dive into our playlist, someone mentioned the good old. Our good old friend Mr. AI in this day and age. And of course, it's everywhere. We can't escape it. But of course, we all use it to some extent. We all can benefit from it. There are some downsides, but of course, the upsides are huge with this. And it's always interesting to think, how can AI help in the gaming space? You have some companies, and you hear those news stories of companies using it in all sorts of ways that may not be at the gamer's interests. And of course, our stance on this is, we are essentially curating your collection. So we do think about this, and we do, both Farron and myself have had some quite interesting conversations about this, where, in a world where AI could actually help us with LaunchBox, like the users of LaunchBox, like what would that actually look like? And so I'm very curious to hear like what people think, because of course, we are looking after your library. So could AI help in some way of curation, for example? Could it help on the sense of filling out a lot of the information that is missing from a database, for example? Could it help with suggesting certain games based on preferences that it knows from your library, for example? So I'm very curious to open that can of worms. And yes, I went there. I know we're stepping on a minefield here, but what do people think? What do you think? How could it help LaunchBox? And I'll pass it over to you, Farron, first to see what you think about that.
I mean, there's a lot of different ways that you can use AI. The problem with, there's a lot of problems with AI, not to mention like just false positives and all that stuff that's going on. One issue with using AI to suggest games is that you kind of are putting AI on the spot, which means you need to have a live AI agent, whether it's and it could be a cloud agent, so you could need to have internet just to like have AI talk to you, which is normally what happens like on your phone or when you're talking through a browser. And or you build some local AI agent, but that takes up, as we know, AI is extremely CPU intensive and takes a lot of, it's not great for performance. And so you can see that people that have integrated AI into their programs up until now, it's usually done in a way where they expect that you have an API key or something, and that every time that you, let's say you wanted to request suggestions, for example, and you go, I got this game, can you suggest other games that are like this game? Whatever AI that you have an API key for, it would reach out to that AI service and it would come up back with results. The problem is every time you do that, costs you, the user, money to use that AI service.
Yeah.
And that businesses would not, like the cost associated with something like that, a business itself, especially like us, would not be able to cover that cost for you. It's like astronomical. And so how can we utilize AI today without actually causing performance issues, without requiring people to be on the internet, or to have a third-party service? I think is better. I think everybody's on the internet.
And also to be useful, right? Not just to shoehorn it in there for the sake of it being in
Yeah,
there, but actually for it to provide something that you cannot otherwise do normally, right? Because I look at it as, to me, that there are sort of two areas where it can help. The first is that sort of assistant style, because it's not uncommon for folks to have libraries of upwards of, 25,000 games, and having something that can help sift through that based on certain criteria is, it's almost like your sort of personal recommendation assistant. It's interesting. It may not be necessary, and of course there's plenty of room for error, but there's that side of things. But then on the curation side of things, so many people spend time in LaunchBox curating that information, whether it's updating metadata, whether it's downloading images, adding badges, icons. And of course, we are very, very well aware of it's not there to sort of replace the work that people do when it comes to a lot of the content that's in there, but could it potentially help fill in some of the gaps in terms of metadata? Like maybe you've got a release date that's missing in some of your games, and how can you accurately fill out some of that? So, and of course, I'm sure there's more areas. Like I'd love to hear what other people think as well.
yeah. The AI personal assistant type of thing would be pretty cool inside of LaunchBox, right? You could basically say, "Hey AI, create me a playlist that has, female protagonists from these eras of gameplay, or these eras of video game history," or create me, analyze my library and find missing fields of such and such, and fill it in for me, right? And for the most part, what AI does very well is summarize data and go out onto the internet and basically summarize the internet. And so if it exists on the internet, it does pretty well. When it doesn't do it well is if it's not available on the internet somewhere, it tends to like to make something up so that it can remain smart sounding.
Yeah.
And so for the most part, I would say if you're just dealing with video games, it does pretty well. And so like there's long-term efforts that it would be kind of cool to have. Like, can you imagine an AI that just can be able to give you how long to beat data, like right away? Hey, how long does it take to beat this game? And it just tells you, like that sort of personal assistant type of thing. And then,
Yeah.
but we're way off on something like that. So what we've been kind of toying with the idea is, how can we use AI to better your experience today that makes something actually useful? And I had talked, we had talked about this in the past, but like here's an example. I don't know, everybody in the chat, like, tell me an obscure game that you absolutely love, that you like fully know that game.
I mean, even just seeing people's comments and thoughts on this in the chat, like it's really nice, like, because of course there are so many different opinions on this and how it could be used, and where it could be used, where people would find it useful. I love 25K as a rookie number. Well, I'm embarrassed to share my 3K personal LaunchBox build, and I thought that was getting quite unruly. So we have Nomad, Jazz Jackrabbit, Who Dare Wins, Who Wants to Be a Millionaire? Of course.
All right, so let's do a couple of these. All right, so I'm going to do three of your guys' suggestions. So imagine you're looking through your library for a game to play, and And maybe even like this screensaver comes up and it's, instead of just saying Warriors of Fate 1999, 3.9, it's giving you like a short blurb about the game, or more specifically of like why you would like this game. So imagine here I've got AI that I basically said, hey AI, tell me about Nomad for the platform MS-DOS, and tell me why I would like this game. And it came back with, you would like this game if you crave a sense of freedom and discovery, charting your own path through a vast open galaxy filled with mystery. You enjoy games that blend space exploration, trading, and diplomacy, where every encounter can change your fortunes. The thrill of upgrading your ship, navigating alien politics, and stumbling across unexpected adventures appeals to you. You like being immersed in a world that feels alive, where choices and curiosities lead to unique outcomes. And most of all, you love the idea of a retro spacefaring adventure that captures the wonder of exploring the unknown. And so
Someone says
would
do
you
Minesweeper.
agree, real, that that would capture that game, and in that one paragraph, I would be able to know whether I would like that game or not?
I mean, that was definitely a little bit waffly in terms of some of the terms that it used, but I mean, I think when it knows the type
Well, it
of
dealt with
if it knows the
space
type of gamer
exploration,
that
trading,
you are,
diplomacy. Yeah, I'm not even
I think it's
talking
quite nice. It's
about
like,
it knows you. Like, we're not at
yeah,
that level. It's
no,
just
no. I
telling
mean,
you a
that's just
paragraph.
using, yeah,
Yeah, it's a good hype
because
paragraph.
that's where you could take it. It's like, let's say, it's like setting a prompt for a language model, right? You basically say, okay, this is the type of gamer I am. Like, let's say I like, you know, shorter than I can't do like 70-hour RPGs. I can only play in like hour long bursts a day. Maybe I've got kids and I like short games that I can complete in a couple of sittings. Maybe I like achievement hunting. These are my preferences. And then it's like, okay, now tell me. So when you get those summaries, it may be a bit, it might say like, oh, beware because, this is going to take a long time. This is what it's like, but based on your preferences, then,
Yeah,
this may not be
I
the game
think
for you.
end goal, that's where we want to go, right? But that's like very specific to the user. You can kind of imagine that
Yeah.
you can have LaunchBox and you can basically say, hey, LaunchBox, I'm looking for a game that, here are all my like recommendations, basically what Astrobob just said. And every single time that you're navigating around LaunchBox and you click on a game, it will give you a breakdown of how well that game would match exactly what you're looking for. And then maybe you can even filter for that. Take my library, or this platform, and filter based on my preferences and show me the top games based on exactly what I want. And just like some random thing was like, oh, I need achievements and this and that, and it has to be this long and then this one. And so we can eventually live in that world. But imagine you just have the ability to see, so we can't live in that world. So what we've been trying to look at is we've been trying to take, like, what are some AI prompts that will get you 100% or close to 100% results that would actually benefit the community, and then make it so that could we run those prompts and place the answers on the game's database for people to then download into their library to have. That is more of a something that's not just sustainable, but something that doesn't pass any cost over to the user and keeps everything performant because the user itself is not using AI. We've done that for you, and we've managed to grab data that doesn't currently exist. It's not just a description of the game. It's not like,
Yeah.
okay, in this game, it's like the plot or something, or like some of these descriptions that you have that you kind of don't
Yeah.
really want to read, but it's like a 3-sentence long, thing that will
Yeah.
explain to you whether that game is something that you would actually like or not. And so for a while, we were putting together, I don't know, 10, 20, 30 different kinds of prompts to try to see what results that you get back. Are these going to be accurate? Are these not going to be accurate? Are these going to be useful? Is this something that you want to hear or not? Like, here's another one.
I
Here's
like
another
what
one that I'll
Real
do.
Arrow says in the chat here about it's not just about preferences, it's like analytics of historical data. So using things like playtime and backlog status and game ratings, taking all of that into account. Like I can certainly imagine, it'd be lovely to have a little AI assistant that tells me off whenever I try and start a new game. It'll be like, no, 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 you've got all of these games that you've started. Maybe you should try and finish this one before you start something else. The possibilities are endless. Watcher, the secret code will be up very soon, actually. We'll probably do that very soon. But hello, I was just joining.
Yeah, and thanks for that Prime sub. So I'm just going to do one more prompt that essentially, in the end, I didn't think that it was good to use, but personally, I love this kind of prompt. And the prompt is essentially, I basically ask, can you tell me about this game, like this particular game? I want to know how it was viewed when that game was launched versus how the game is now viewed today. And so here I'm going to use the Daedalus encounter. I know nothing about this game, so whoever suggested this one is going to have to tell me whether it was right or not.
You can paste the results in the chat as well.
All right, the initial reception. In 1995, the Daedalus encounter earned commendation for its cinematic flair. Critics praised its high-quality FMV, strong production values, and Tia Carrera's involvement. Magazines like 3DO Magazine and Video Games and Computer Entertainment gave it around 80%, lauding the immersive puzzle setup and full-screen video experience. However, reviewers also noted that limited interactivity and sparse gameplay, while GamePro called it definitely worth a look, others felt like merely occasional puzzle gameplay left a lot to be desired. Today, the game is fondly remembered as a polished entry in the FMV genre, and people remember it for enduring appreciation for its visuals, acting, and sci-fi atmosphere. Commentary often emphasizes that despite its limitations as a limited interactive movie, it stands out for its ambition and tone, and still holds nostalgic charm among fans of mid-90s interactive media.
Well, there you go. As was said above, that's quite the sales pitch right there.
Yeah, but it's not really a sales pitch. Like, to me, because I always veer on the line of like museum style information that I want, right? So to me, it's like, well, how, like if I was living in that time, I mean, I lived through that time, but if I was living in that time and, I was out and I grabbed a bunch of magazines and I was reading like whatever about this game, what would it be like? Like, make me feel what it would be like at that moment for this game. And so that kind of did that, right? It brought us back to that. And imagine it can do that to any game that you want. I like that kind of thing.
Yeah. So I'm sure we could go on all night, and who would have thought you joined a LaunchBox Twitch stream to get into the debate of AI? But I thought it was always an interesting topic, and especially in
thanks for
the
that.
realm of whoever suggested that earlier on as well. Thank you so much, because we do think about this, and of course, there's ways off before there's anything even remotely useful. But we do think about it, and it can be fun to think about some of the potential. So we appreciate that. But think we're going to switch gears, if that's all right, unless you had anything, any questions for me, Farron, maybe, or shall we move on to the next part?
The only question
Exactly.
that I have for you that might be interesting is, you were a LaunchBox fan, right, before you joined the team. And now you've been on the team for a year. How has your perception changed since you've been on the team about LaunchBox? And like, what was your perception beforehand? And now, has anything changed for you with regards to how you kind of look and view it?
It's a really good question. It is very interesting because it's been almost a year now. And my day job is in a similar space, but I always quite enjoy getting a peek behind the curtain at why things are the way they are, and especially when it's a product that you're a big fan of. So as a fan, you use it and you understand its limitations based on what the functionality is at that point in time, right? It does this, but there are these things missing. But of course, when you're part of the team and you understand, and I spend a lot of my time on the community side, like looking at people's problems and questions and trying to help our team, our community get the most out of LaunchBox. It is interesting to see the reasons behind why these things are the way they are. And I'm, like I said, because of my day job, I am quite understanding in that sense of there's reasons why, there's reasons why it's not, we don't ship on Linux today. There's reasons why there can sometimes be performance problems. There's reasons why there's certain things are broken. And so, yeah, I mean, it's just nice to be part of that conversation. But then, of course, you and I have a lot of conversations about, the future and sort of things that we're building and where we want to go. And it's nice to be able to obviously contribute to that discussion as, I mean, it's no joke. I mean, we have these conversations, but, as soon as a new beta comes out, like I'm literally installing it straight on my new build. I'm testing everything out because I use it every day. Like I use this build, and I play a lot of games. So it's nice to be a part of that conversation. And understand a little bit more about under the hood. And that's why we try and, elaborate on these streams, for example. Some people may not find it interesting, but I mean, I personally, I quite like to get to know a bit more about the companies that make these products. And I say company, of course, we are a company, but we're a very small team here. So, but the people who build these products, I think it's really nice to get an understanding of how they think about these things and just hear about some of the problems or some of their thinking of how they do this development. So yeah,
and everybody here, you're basically listening to our discussions that we have. We usually have at least like a discussion
pretty much
where we just talk. You're basically just like here with us as we talk together. I don't know if that's fun or not, but we go down these rabbit holes of like AI and development and design questions all the time, just like behind the scenes. And the only difference here is that we decided to hit the stream button anyway for this one.
So speaking of fun, let's turn it around and shift to something potentially a little bit more fun. And of course, hopefully this has been interesting so far, but I think there are two things we can do. We could potentially look at that code, and while that's happening, we are going to take our next topic, which is our community playlist. So we've done these on streams in the past. I've actually really enjoyed doing this, if anyone has done this with me a few months ago. But of course, we have the community playlists in Big Box. We call them game discovery playlists. These are manual playlists that we can create on our side. We have a competition going on right now for our 12th celebration, which is asking people to submit ideas for what game you would take on a deserted island. And we will take the results of that and put it into a playlist that can then appear in Big Box's Game Discovery Center. So we thought it would be fun to do it with you guys. But we also thought we'd give you the chance to pick the topic. So I'm going to put a poll that says, what shall the theme of our playlist be? Now, I'm going to talk you through the options as I post them into the chat. So bear in mind, this is a theme that, so you have to come up with games that meet this criteria, okay? So, and I've realized I don't have too many text boxes to work with. So the first option is Gravity Takes a Vacation. This is titles with hilarious or non-existent physics. So some examples might be the infamous Superman 64, Goat Simulator, Gang Beasts, basically, Sonic 06, for example, although not intentionally, games that where you often fight with the physics. The second option is boss fights for masochists, games with absurdly difficult or unfair boss battles. And don't worry, these options are going to pop up on the screen in 1 second. And of course, that is things like Cuphead, Dark Souls, Sekiro, any game that is just brutally brutal with its boss fights. Let's actually get all the options up on screen first, and then
and I'll go through some of these deserted island playlists. Do people agree? Do you guys agree with some of these games? Summon Night, Swordcraft Story 2, Final Fantasy Tactics, the advanced version.
Okay,
Load
so
Runner?
there should be a poll in the chat right now. Do tell me if you guys can see that. You can cast your vote. Just to quickly continue what the rest of these themes are, sorry, Farron, before we do that. So the soundtrack carries, which is games remembered for legendary music. So games that have are just as well known for their soundtracks as the game itself. So maybe some of the Tony Hawk games, maybe the guitar games, Nier Automata, Chrono Trigger, things like that. We have 5-minute fun, which is games you can enjoy in short bursts. So whether it's something like Pac-Man, some arcade games, original Donkey Kong, those games that you can just pick up and play. And then we have finally Vibes Over Victory, which is games with the feel or atmosphere that is more important than winning. So games like Journey, Flower, Braid, all those kind of, not necessarily trippy, but vibey games. So the poll is there, fantastic. Cast your vote. We can always do more than one if we have time, but let us know which playlist you would love to.
You guys will see the poll, for people wondering, over top the chat, at the top of the chat, I'm assuming.
Okay.
In Twitch.
Vibes Over Victory is racing ahead. Wow. If anyone wants to counter that, jump in. It is racing up there. No love for the soundtrack games. But we'll leave it up there for a second. And what else have we got on our Deserted Island playlist? Dead Cells.
The regular Final Fantasy Tactics.
Yeah.
Hey, Retro Frog decided to say he would bring LaunchBox. That's cheating a little, I feel like.
That's definitely sucking.
I'm just going to bring LaunchBox and like all of my games in it. That's what I'll bring. Dead Cells? Mega Man 2 to the island. Miss Pac-Man, but only the Tengen version on the NES. That's an interesting choice, an interesting version. The Phantom Pain.
It's true, even if you couldn't play a game, just having LaunchBox would keep you entertained. We'll have to assume that you have access to the game's database. But exactly. Yeah, I mean, how many of you do this? So I'll be completely honest. I have a little notepad for notes that pop into my mind throughout the day, and I will literally have one for games. And whenever there's something I need to add to my build or something I want to tweak, maybe there's a patch out for a game I'm interested in, maybe there's a new set on retro achievements that I'm particularly interested in checking out, it just goes into that little notepad, and then you sit down when you have time at the end of the day to play some games, and I'll start tweaking LaunchBox, and before I know it, the night is over and I haven't actually played a game. I've just been tweaking it the whole evening. Does that resonate with anyone else? All the things you can do, and all the games that we have, and I did also, I love the name MMO Gaming Accounts, but I thought it read MMO Gaming Coconuts. And since we were talking about a desert island, but that's just my my bad reading. All right, so Vibes Over Victory is currently in the lead. If anyone wants to change that. But yes, like modding Skyrim, of course, you spend more time modding and tweaking. And of course, because there's so many mods that come out every day, and you just keep adding them to the game and thinking, oh, I'm going to try out this mod sometime, and do we ever? We actually talk about this internally as to when we're scoping features that are specific to people who actually want to play games within LaunchBox and people who want to use LaunchBox to curate and kind of manage. The difference between something like game progress, which is very much a sort of player-focused feature, versus additions to 3D boxes and metadata and things that allow you to curate LaunchBox. There's definitely two groups of people, and we bounce between them, but it can be interesting. Can I still continue to say Gaming Coconuts just because I love that username? But this MMO Gaming Accounts, boss fights, vote. I want a boss where you beat it, you feel like you did something, and smoke a cigarette. Yeah, that was me pretty much through the whole of Cuphead. Absolutely love that game. Ogo Kriya says, I went out of the room for a moment and couldn't listen to what you said about the game I posted. What game did you post? We were just saying,
let us know.
What good picks. Did you post for FF Tactics? And yes, Cuphead is just the best. Yeah. If anyone is seeing, what's that game? PI Mouse Detective? The third-person shooter with a similar art style. As someone who doesn't really play many shooters, and I am very interested in that purely for its wonderful, wonderful visuals. Cuphead is unbelievable. Yes, everyone in this channel does need to get it. Okay, well, I think our theme is set. Our theme is set. It is by a landslide. The vote is for Vibes Over Victory. So the theme for Vibes Over Victory is games where the feel and atmosphere is more important than winning. So of course that's quite a subjective list there, but I think even Cuphead could fall into that category, because how many people claim to have fully completed Cuphead but had a blast along the way just because of how gorgeous it looks. But yeah, some examples would be things like Flower, Journey, Braid. What's that? Limbo is another one that probably falls into that category. But yeah, let's start thinking about it. What I will be doing is I have a little public collection that I'm going to be populating in the background. So, what would you say, Farron? Vibes over, what was it? Vibes Over Victory. Any games that stood out to you?
I'd have to think about that.
Well, that's what we're here for. You should have thought about it already.
Yeah, I didn't think that one would win. So the game that I would choose for that one is a game that I played a lot for like 10 years. And it's one that basically nobody knows. I would be surprised if anybody knows this game here. It's an MMORPG called Worm Online. Does anybody know that game? WURM Online. It came out sometime in like 2006, I think. 2005. And went under the radar. Barely anybody heard about it. Very tiny. And has been just still around. The game is still around today, even though it's such a tiny little game. And what it is like, so one thing you should know is that the guy that created Worm Online went on to develop another game that you might have heard about called Minecraft. And so, if you've ever played Minecraft, Worm Online was like the game that he tinkered to try to create a game, which he then went and created Minecraft on. So they're very similar foundation. You know, the game's about, but it's, imagine if Minecraft was like for adults. It was designed specifically for that at the time, with like really old and outdated graphics, but it's all about the atmosphere, right? It's all about like, what if you could just live in a medieval style world? What would that be like? And that's Worm Online.
What was that? What was that game that got announced for the Nintendo Switch 2, where you're literally roasting marshmallows? Does that count? Just because I saw someone suggest, Firewatch. That's great. There's really good ones in here. Ninja Gaiden for the NES, of course. Sword of the Sea. I'm gonna have to look that up. Interstate 76. Shadow of the Colossus. That is fantastic, of course. Probably that and The Last Guardian as well. Shadow of the Colossus. So these are going into the playlist as we speak. If you have that link, Farron, you can pop that open and refresh it once I've got a few more in there. Yeah. Mist, of course. That one had fantastic atmosphere. Do you like what people are saying about... I'm also in the camp of just bumping a game down to easy and letting it not get too stressed with it, just kind of run its course.
It depends on the game.
Long, I think so, yeah. Like longer RPGs, for example, it's more for me. It's more about like the ride, so I'm happy to just bump those down, and I like more exploring. But yeah, if it's like a short little like platformer or yeah,
I tend to lower the difficulty with story-based RPGs if that's an option, because it's right. For me, it's more about the story. For me, it's about, you know, that really cool, interesting story. I normally won't go down to the easiest level, but I don't get any enjoyment. Like I barely can play games. I don't get any enjoyment replaying a game. Once I played it, done, I'm like that guy. Hardly will rewatch like a movie.
Oh yeah,
because I would rather watch
I'm with you.
a movie I haven't watched. And there's just so many out there.
I mean, with gaming, that's definitely. I'm exactly there with you. We definitely choose the more expensive approach because we buy so many games and move on from them so quickly versus someone who picks up a free-to-play game. I mean, I have friends who pick up one free-to-play game and will put like 4,000 hours into it, and then they've got their money's worth and they haven't spent anything on it. But yeah, I can't do that. I just want to experience more and more. Roller Coaster Tycoon, whoever said that, is a very good shout. I'm definitely putting that in. I used to play not Roller Coaster Tycoon, but Theme Park, the original Theme Park it was on the SNES and Mega Drive by Bullfrog.
Oh yeah,
it was a great rendition, but it just had that one song, you know, that do 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 do, that song that like the carnival song, and it just repeated. It was just that one song the whole game, and I just have it etched into my brain because like it's this one loop that lasts like less than 10 seconds, and that's all you have to listen to for the entire duration of playing that game. But hey, it left a lasting impression. What can I say? So Roller Toaster Tycoon. That would be fun. Roller Coaster Tycoon. That is a good shout. SimCity 2000. Yeah. Yeah, I mean, of course we can be as subjective as we want here. Warcraft, anything with just a vibe, I suppose. Command & Conquer. I never played SimCity 2000. I was SimCity 3000. That was my jam. Submerged and Total Annihilation. What does our good friend ChatGPT tell us about this, if you were to ask it?
Let's ask it.
There's a game called Tracks, like wooden trains. You can make as many as you want, pick up passengers. Sounds cute. Let me have a look for that. Is it in the database? Yes, it is. It's called Tracks, the Train Sets game. Jump into the ultimate toy sandbox and build the train set of your dreams. Well, it's in there. Yes, Total Annihilation, great game, but I don't think I could chill while playing it. Heck, I mean, some people find horror games as like relaxing. Horror movies as well. It's like the way to unwind. Definitely not for me, considering I can't even play Doki Doki Literature Club. But Syndicate.
You want to hear some of this list?
Yeah, go on. What did it tell us?
Number 1, a game called Journey on the PlayStation 3 and PlayStation 4 and PC. It said, a wordless desert trek where the experience is about atmosphere, discovery, and quiet companionship. They have Stardew Valley, which I guess I would agree with.
Mm-hmm.
A game called Flower. Do you have that one?
Yep.
They added an Animal Crossings game. I guess any one of them would probably do. A game called East Shade. And the description is that it's a painter's open world adventure where you create art inspired by the scenery instead of fighting enemies or earning trophies. A game called Proteus. Proteus is a minimalist island exploration game with shifting seasons and generative music that rewards curiosity. Some other ones. Spiritfarer, a management game about caring for spirits and saying goodbye. Carried by warmth and gentle pacing instead of difficulty. Uh-oh. We lost Astrobob. Let's see. He's I don't know if he's gonna come back or if we're just gonna be me. We lost him forever. We're gonna find out. What's funny is that I'm pretty sure. Are you back? Your Discord is back. It does seem like that you had some blip there.
Yeah.
Where at least we can hear you now, but we can't. Oh yeah, we can see you now. There you are.
There we go.
We did it. It's just me.
Sorry,
it's just
folks.
me. No, we're good. We're good. It's not just me now.
What did I miss?
I named some games and that was it. The last one being Spiritfarer, a management game about caring for spirits.
Oh yeah, good shout. Good shout. Well, keep them coming through in the chat because...
But I think it's getting late. So keep telling us games that we can get Astrobob here to add to that playlist. But in the meantime, we got to get to the actual topic in hand about couch gaming. And before this stream ends, because we're running low on time, we're going to show 2 different kinds of streaming. One is built into LaunchBox, and one is just a companion app that you can use to make it work like and both will create the illusion of couch gaming with someone that, hey, maybe this way, across the pond basically from you, and it still is pretty good and playable.
Sorry, just had to switch headphones there. We should do the code as well.
Yeah, let's do that. For people that want the code, you can find it right next to my head right now.
Bada bing, bada boom. So the code, this is your final code for the giveaway. Feel free to grab that code and pop it into the Gleam box on our celebration website, and that will give you some additional entries
right
for
here.
the giveaway. And someone says, is the code for the giveaway already out? It is as of 5 seconds ago.
All right, let's look at some games. Oh, apparently we lost Astrobob again. But
All right,
hopefully he'll be back in no time. Yeah, not sure what's going on there, but you are back.
It is the internet overlords telling us to
Let's
get
hope
on and
that
actually
it
play some
doesn't.
games.
Yeah, let's hope it doesn't affect the actual game playing. All right, so for this first one, we're going to use the built-in LaunchBox. Basically, LaunchBox doesn't do anything, but LaunchBox has built in... Yeah, I really should change those out, shouldn't I? Just so that I can be sure that the LaunchBox sounds are not overwhelming you guys. Let's turn this... Ooh, okay, I should not do it that way. Down to like 30. There we go. Okay, so we curated a bunch of games that should work with built-in Netplay feature inside of LaunchBox. If you use RetroArch, RetroArch has a Netplay feature which works with some cores, and as long as you and your friend are using the same version of RetroArch, the same core, the same game files, and that the person hosting it has forwarded the port that they've decided to use inside of RetroArch on their network router, it should just work. And so
Famous
these
last
games
words.
should work. Okay, so we're going to test it on one of these games. Why don't we do it on one of these quick ones like Dr. Mario?
Yeah, we'll do a quick one, and then let's hear in the chat what you would like to see. So why don't you scroll through the games first, just to show us what we have. So we have Dr. Mario, of course, a bit of puzzle action, but what else do we have in that list?
I didn't know you could change big box sounds. Yeah, usually on my main builds, I've got some customized sounds that are really nice. But you can go onto the forums and get yourself sound packs galore in the download section.
Yeah. So what do we have? We have Turtles in Time, TMNT4 on the SNES. Of course, a bit of co-op beat 'em up. We have Bust a Move, the puzzle game. Easy to screw your friend over by playing this. Contra on the NES, which will definitely require some codes in order to last more than 5 minutes. Good old Dr. Mario, one of many versions. I think that next one is Street Fighter.
Street Fighter 2 Turbo.
And Super Bomberman 2. Good old Bomberman classic.
Super Mario Kart, everyone's favorite.
Any you want to see in particular? I won't create a poll for this one, but yeah, just shout out. Vote for Battletoads. Jeez. Yeah, should we play the Battletoads?
You really want us to suffer from
Is this just
the
payback?
N-Gage to the original Battletoads?
He just wants us to suffer because we badmouth the N-Gage. Alright, so we can grab... Why don't we show them how simple it can be. Let's try Dr. Mario.
Yeah. What I would say is Netplay can be good and can be pretty bad. Depending on the core, depending on your network and your situation. I personally would not use it. And so after we do some of these Netplay ones, which we're showing off because, hey, it is baked into LaunchBox and it should just work. And so it is a way that you can definitely play with friends. I tried to play it once with like an arcade game with my brother. And yeah, the desync issues were too much. However, when we were testing it, at least with these games, Nintendo games, Super Nintendo games, it was actually doing pretty good. So, you know, your mileage may vary here.
And this is where we see it spectacularly implode, but go ahead. So what do you need to do?
Alright, now we said everything will be great. I'm going to host Dr. Mario with my name.
Going to join RetroArch Netplay. I then have a list of games that are available, and I can see Farron is playing Dr. Mario. It's telling me the core, and I've just realized I am not using the correct core, so I'm just going to go ahead and change that. You're using Nestopia, right?
Yeah, whatever was the default.
I am using Messin, so I'm going to switch to Nestopia. I am then going to go...
It does.
Join.
It totally does have the vibe. I mean, not quite the original, probably Warcraft 2 or something, with my friend over the phone line that lived across the street. And that was a mess. It worked, though.
It worked. I'm in.
Okay. 2 players. Let's bump ourselves up to maybe 5? Put the speed to low.
Okay.
You ready?
We can go to medium.
You sure you want the speed to be medium? Are you sure?
Just to confirm, game audio might be a little loud. Is it loud, everyone? How's it sound?
There, how about that? We're down to 5%. Alright, are you guys ready?
Better. Okay.
Let's do this. 1, 2, 3. I'm on the left. Astrobub's on the right.
Yeah. So Farron is apparently a self-proclaimed Dr. Mario master.
I'm not a master.
What's funny about this Netplay is that, I guess just because of the latency, I actually see your pills go down and then they go back up. Crazy? So it's kind of going up and down all over the place.
Yeah, it's good
And
that a game like this, you don't have to worry about that. Funny, I don't get that for you.
and I am not doing very well
They are really
at
screwing
all.
me over here.
I have already majorly screwed this up.
Oh, so I can just take it easy? Is that what you're saying?
I mean, I'm really not doing very well here. I'm going to blame Netplay, but I probably can't. We can.
All right, I'll just play
bring this back.
recklessly.
I'm sure we can bring this back. Yeah, really not doing too well here. Yeah, Astra's using that AOL dial-up. Did anyone play the mobile version of Dr. Mario World before that got shut down on
I did.
phones?
Yeah, I did.
It was actually quite fun. It was quite fun. I like how you could use. Oh, do you see that? Anyone see that? That was a good move.
That sounded really good.
Yeah, there was a Dr. Mario mobile game. It was only live for a couple of years before they shut it down, unfortunately, which was a real shame.
Did you ever hear why they shut it down?
I mean, just not enough revenue.
Was there
I suppose.
nobody playing it?
Yeah, yeah.
That's interesting.
Can you test Street Fighter? Just curious for the worst case with a fast-paced game. Yeah, why not? We certainly can.
Let's do that next.
Well, I think I'm actually making a comeback here. Not to blow my own trumpet.
I decided I was going to play recklessly, and then
oh, is that what? Is that your excuse? See, look.
I did say a time to play recklessly.
For Viking Mop, in terms of the codes themselves, so you will need to log in with an account with Gleam, and I know it can be a little bit finicky in terms of how it notifies you that you are logged in. What I would suggest doing is try it and log in with an email address rather than using one of the social connected accounts, because what that will do is it will send you a 2FA code to your email that you can use to authenticate the account. You actually won't need a password. I don't know if you're using that or if you're using one of the other accounts to try and connect. Just out of personal experience, this is what I found if you're using an email. But yeah, unfortunately, it's hard to say because you will need an account in order to register the entries. But if this has happened for you every single time, then yeah, it's hard to say exactly what is happening, unfortunately. Signed up, signed in using the same email on the yeah. I mean, Gleam is a third-party service, so it's not connected to any of the LaunchBox accounts, unfortunately. It will ask you to usually put in an email address, and then it will allow you to register your votes. Look at this, I've got this huge section piling up on the right-hand side, and all my last flipping viruses are on the left-hand side, and I cannot get to them. Cool. Yeah, let us know if I can mop if... I would also suggest just to try and get around Gleam is maybe use a private tab so that you don't have any cookies hanging around. And then it will ask you for a fresh login. And that's where, when it asks you how you want to log in, just choose email and then try to add. Oh, you won! He sneaked up and won.
There you go. All right. All right, let's jump. That actually played pretty well. I could see what you were doing pretty well, even though you weren't able to. Let's try Street Fighter 2.
Alright.
Let me know when you join in, just in case I missed the notification.
Oops. No, I put in the wrong password. My bad. Let's try that again.
So they will happen sometime early next week, and we will send the winners directly an email based on the email that you provide. Okay. We go in turbo.
So another really cool... Oh, crikey. I mean, I can't pretend that I've ever been good at Street Fighter 2. Street Fighter 4 was my jam. That's when I got into it.
Oh, yeah?
Me and
All right.
one of my buddies
Who should we
was
be?
super into Street
I
Fighter
guess
4.
I'll just be Ryu here.
I'll be Blanco. Why not? Yeah, so one of the cool things about Netplay is for any achievement hunters out there, because you're logged in with your account, you can both earn achievements. So if you're playing through like a co-op beat 'em up game, it's quite fun because both you and a buddy can earn
relearning these controls.
Cool.
I do not like these controls.
I've been told
I'm gonna blame it on my controls.
But yeah, for whoever was asking about in terms of like a high action, what's the word? Fast-paced game in terms of latency and how it feels. To be honest, it feels fine on my side. I don't know about you, but
it feels pretty good. Yeah. I mean, I suck at this game, but it feels pretty good.
Yeah. I mean, I see the odds. Yeah. So it's just done the odd thing there where. Oh, so you're exactly like this friend who I play Street Fighter 4 with. You just stand in the corner.
Yeah,
and
I'm just
spam
going
those
to
flipping fireballs, those Hadoukens. It is the most annoying type of person to play with.
Well,
because I'm not good. I'm not good enough to block them. This is what this guy does. I used to get so annoyed. We always used to play. He would always pick Rio, and he just stands in the corner and just throws fireballs or Hadoukens.
Well,
but there we go.
There you go. So Netplay doesn't entirely suck. It is limited, and it does take time to set it up. It's limited in cores, compatibility. There's more configuration to set up between them. I don't know if Netplay is getting updated anymore. It's been a number of years, but there was at one point I heard that the guy that was developing it left the team, and it just sort of became a thing that RetroArch has. That happened after Jason decided to integrate it into LaunchBox. So while we don't heavily like advertise it or market it, it is a feature of LaunchBox. It's in there. You could see like I hosted a game inside of LaunchBox itself. You know, Astrobob joined the game inside of LaunchBox. It is completely something that you can do inside of LaunchBox. But I will say we had to do some preparation to have it work because it's hit or miss. Like which cores is it going to work with, which game files is it going to work with, and all that stuff. So yeah, there you go. On the other hand, has anyone used a service? Actually, maybe we could try one more game. We got one more game, and I'll let you guys decide based on the games that you see here. Which one do you want us to play? I think we went through it. Turtles in Time, Super Mario Kart, Super Bomberman. It's a good one. The original Contra, which I don't think Astrobob has a lot of experience on, and thanks for that follow. This would be his first type of foray into this original Contra game. I got 2 Mario Kart, 3 Mario Karts, and a Bomberman. Yeah. I don't know if anything's gonna beat Mario Kart, but you guys, 1 Contra.
I think Master Weeb, you said you have great memories of playing Contra with your grandfather, which is awesome. It's very cool.
I do have great memories playing with my brother. We used to play that all the time as kids.
So are we doing
Mario Kart's gonna win?
Kart?
Yeah, your favorite. Let's do this.
Well, I should say we were talking about this yesterday. I replayed this game recently. Funnily enough, it was because of LaunchBox's progress into the new progress tracking.
Yeah.
What I did is I set it for the end, so I was going through and kind of checking off some of those games that I was very close to the end, and this was one of them. I was on like the special cup. I had like only a few left,
Wow.
and this game, the AI is complete and utter, just hot trash. Like they will literally, you will see the AI approach an item, and you will see them literally jump over it every single
Yeah.
time. It is so unbelievably broken, the AI in this game. And of course, what can you say? It's, the early
Hey.
1990s, but yeah, it was frustrating. Like, this game is hard. It is real hard. And
Which
maybe
means you've
this just
played it
shows my
much more recently than I have.
I
that's,
have I
that's what
have
that
played
means.
it.
Are we doing versus, like a battle mode, or an actual race? We'll do one or the other, like a match race or a battle mode. I got one for
We'll
race.
start with the race.
Hey,
GP.
maybe we can
Oh
do
wow.
one.
Yeah,
I don't
maybe.
think we could do an entire.
Should we do Rainbow Road?
You're gonna start off with the hardest one.
Yeah. Why not? And Viking
Sure.
Mob, glad to hear that
Says
worked
the
for you.
person that actually I don't have.
Oh yeah, you haven't unlocked
I
it.
don't have it.
That's fine. Not
No,
donut
no.
planes. I don't like donut
First,
planes. Like, yeah, Mario Circuit. Good old Mario Circuit. Can't go wrong.
you want to do the original Mario Circuit, or Mario Circuit 2 or 3 or 4?
Chat. Any preferences? Mario
1, 2,
Circuit
3, or
1
4?
is a bit tame. Maybe 2 or 3. Go for it. 3. Let's do it.
3.
Or
No,
someone
we're going with
2.
2.
All right, now, chat. Place your bets. Is it
It's
just me
not
and you?
going
Yeah,
to
it
be
is.
me. It's not going to be me. I haven't played this in
Because
forever.
this game is floaty as all heck. It is. Yeah, you can literally just like power slide around the entire track if you know what you're doing. But I tell you, it is so much more enjoyable playing this game without CPUs, like just tailing your ass like every 2 seconds. But yeah, I do have an unfair advantage having completed this very recently.
Yeah. I played this as a kid, but
You could pull off some very fun things with like jumps and the feather. You could really like, especially on those ghost house courses, you could just fly over like parts of the track.
yeah, oh yeah, I remember those days. Ugh. Oh, you hit me.
Sorry about that.
Now I don't know which way I'm supposed to go.
What?
Yeah, I must be so far away. It gave me one of those. Not that I'm gonna win.
But as you can see, even on Netplay, like the latency and the connection, it's not that bad. It's not that bad. Ow!
Did I get you? I was
Yeah,
hoping I
you
got
did.
you.
I think you got this. I can't catch up.
Oh my god.
Look at that.
Yeah.
Someone
Love
should have
how-
placed those bets.
Yeah. Yeah, I was not expecting to win that. It has been a very long time since I played that game. Anyway, let's do
So yeah,
a oh, you got it. Let's end and do a battle mode.
okay. But yeah, a lot of people saying Mario Kart with the family. Mario Kart is one of the few games where we could convince our parents to actually play games. That and Mario 64. Which is the ice battle course? I think it's battle course 3 or 2.
Not letting me know. I can go with 3 or 2.
Let's do 3. I think it gives you a preview before you start. Yeah, there we go.
There it is. This definitely brings me back to the days of playing as a kid. Having friends over or being at a friend's house. I used to have a friend with like... what am I going to do with this? Oh my god.
All right. We're coming to get you. Oh, come on. Are you serious? Oh, no.
Nah.
So slippery. All right, you're going to pay for this. Oh, come on. Dude.
You missed.
How did I miss
missed.
that? Wow. Okay, I mean, you do. It's a little busy just because of the mode 7, like spinning around. But do you see that? I blocked your red shell. Okay. Oh, are you serious? Another star? No.
Come here. Oh, I missed you.
Okay. Can you shoot items behind you? Oh, you can. Oh, it doesn't shoot.
Oh, I gotcha.
Oh. Okay. It doesn't actually fire them, it just drops them on the ground.
Yep.
Okay, right.
No.
Stop moving. Wait, can I reverse? How do I... Oh no, I just wasted my red shell. Alright, the game is taking pity on me. It knows that I'm... Did you... Wow. Wow.
Yeah!
Okay. Nothing like embarrassing myself in front of 60
You were doing
viewers.
a lot better off the stream.
Yeah. Anywho.
And I was doing very bad.
Yes, getting dizzy.
Anyway,
yeah,
that was fun.
Especially when it's full. The mode 7 on this game.
When you're not playing, it's much worse than when you are playing.
Exactly, and also not on a CRT and on a much bigger display than we were probably all playing on back in the day, right?
Yeah, and I used to have I have a cousin that used to get super dizzy playing something like that. Never could play.
Yeah, my mom used to play Super Mario World and Gradius 3, yeah. Moms have this unbelievable superpower of games that we think they weren't going to be good at, and then suddenly they were the ones who were beating them. That was my mom with
And your
Mario
mom
64.
has a superpower of making me feel really old.
This is when you blame latency. Exactly.
That's right.
Well, now with the next thing that we're going to try, I mean, we could rematch, or we could try something else. I'm not sure I'm that competitive.
Let's go with Parsec, which is the next thing we're going to do. If anybody's used Parsec, I mean, as a companion app with LaunchBox, what it essentially does is it allows somebody else to join your computer with an emulated controller, so they can use their controller at home. It emulates it on my computer, and they're joining it as it thinks that there's a real controller on my computer, and we can play it together. Basically anything. The pros of this approach is that, you just have to download the program, and once you download the program and you guys become friends, they just join your computer, just like a button. It took us how long to set this up? 5 minutes? Not even. The other benefit is that we have only one person needs to have LaunchBox on their computer. Like, I only need LaunchBox. You don't need to have anything. You can basically have access to my library. And we're going to be playing together in no time any game that we want. And so we can play some of those games. We can play... I mean, we only have like 4 games in here. But any game that you want, maybe we can... What we want to do is play a 2-player simultaneous game of some kind. That we can have fun together for a few minutes or so here. Oh, looks like we lost Astrobob again. Alright, does anybody have any recommendations, or should we go down this Let's Play list? Weird. There you are.
Am I back? Ho! Don't know what's going on this evening. Oof. Discord is not playing nice, but we're back. What did I miss?
Like some of the arcade games, we got the beat 'em up games like the Dungeons and Dragons, Shadow over Mystara. We've got Marvel vs. Capcom, another Street Fighter-like game. We've got Star Fox 64, which I haven't played since I was a kid, so I don't know how I'm going to react to it, but it's there. Have you played this recently, Star Fox 64?
Not the multiplayer. I think the multiplayer matches can go on quite long because it's dogfighting, and so you have to... until you take one another down, you're just like flying around in circles.
Yeah, I could see that. Super Gem Fighter, basically Street Fighter 2 Chibi Edition. And that's all that we had listed here, but we've got a full range of games that we could jump into if we really wanted to. I don't have the DOS games. I need to set that up again. That would be fun. There were some really fun DOS games back in the day. Ooh, thanks for that follow.
Right, I'll connect to you.
Oh, yeah, let's do that.
Okay. And there we go. It's as simple as that. I literally just hit one button, it's connected, and now I am seeing the complete live feed of
and you control
the screen. Do you have the option to...
Yeah.
Look at that.
Probably left it on.
Yes, I can.
That's not me.
So it says you emulate the gamepad and control it remotely. What about the image? Do you see the host's game screen too? Yes, that is exactly what I see. So in the Parsec window on my side, I am literally seeing a window that is Farron's screen. And because it's taking my controller, and because in Big Box we have the option to use all controllers, it means that I can actually control Big Box from my side, which is quite cool. And it is surprisingly... the latency is pretty good. I cannot even tell. I would think that I'm looking at my own build.
That's pretty cool.
But which one should we jump into? Any of these, or should we jump into something else? Someone suggested Star Trek or Shrek earlier on. I can't say I have any of those games, but maybe you do.
I don't know if I have any of those games.
Shrek Super Slam.
So we don't have too long. I can't remember now. Is Star Fox like cooperative as well?
No, it's
is it just the battle mode versus? Oh, that sucks.
Yeah. But let's try it, because the others, unless it's Marvel vs. Capcom, the others are like beat 'em ups, which we'll never get through anyway. So let's try.
That's true. You can't go wrong with Streets of Rage. I remember when I first started emulating. I have an unsupported game version. When I first started emulating a very long time ago on a really old computer, and I was really wanting to play these old games like Streets of Rage. And that sort of thing. I bought these really, really, really cheap looking PC controllers that had enough controls for the Genesis style games. Oh, looks like we lost Astrobob again. Alright, I might need to quit this game for a second so I can get back into this call with you. Are you there?
Yes.
You are there. Okay.
It keeps saying you dropped off the Discord call, but I don't know.
Does LaunchBox support Nesticle? I mean, it supports any emulator that has command line interface of any kind to launch games. Let's see. God, I haven't seen these in forever.
Yeah, and of course the fan-made PC port of Starfield 64, widescreen, high refresh rate, mods. I've heard amazing things about that. I tried out the Mario Kart one. There's a Majora's Mask one. Yeah, it's a crazy world we live in with recompilations.
Yes, get to choose which character we want, but let's see if this works.
Right, I need you to approve the. I disconnected.
Oh no, you disconnected.
Sorry. Yeah. Sorry. There's a new one. And yeah, the Mario Kart one is quite new.
Yeah, all these new mods. I remember playing the Mario 64 one. That was really nice to play. Alright, here we go. I don't remember what the difference between point match, battle royale, and time trial is.
I think battle royale is the dogfight. Point match must be. Maybe it's taking down enemy spaceships, but try point match.
Can you get in there? There you are. I don't know why it's saying that we have 4 players.
Do we have to select all of them?
Maybe. We definitely don't have 4 players. Maybe there's... Why would it think that we have 4 players? Maybe because of this?
Is chat seeing the screen correctly? Because the preview I'm looking at is seems to be paused on the start menu.
Oh. You're right. That's interesting.
Yeah.
Streaming just doesn't like...
Yeah, it's paused on the... I'm also unfortunately seeing a pretty choppy image on my side. We did break it, and of course this is where we told you how easy it would be.
Yeah.
Okay,
oh, you know what? Maybe I need to refresh the monitor. There we go. You're seeing the monitor again.
Hey, there we go.
All right.
Yeah, I think now we're back in business.
That seemed broken anyway. Since I don't know why it thinks that we have 4 players. I think it was on the right track into seeing like
exactly
that there was maybe for like controllers that it thought that it had RetroArch, probably just loads all 4 of them in, just in case.
Yeah. Should we try again?
I'll try one more time. I'm gonna have to fiddle with some RetroArch settings, I think.
You can just set the max controllers to 2, and then it will only try to add 2 controllers.
Let's see where we got that.
And go down past, yeah, controls. Oh, it'll be under controls.
I got 1 to 8.
Yeah, so scroll all the way down. It should be, oh,
That was
there's
it.
like max controllers somewhere.
Oh, you might be thinking of this area, maybe.
Maximum users, yeah, there you go, that's the one. How's it looking for chat though? I think it's still not.
Did it crap out again? I think it did crap out again. Here, give me a second. I'm hoping that I can refresh it.
Yeah, it froze again.
It does not like this this core, I think. That's what it kind of looks like. So I wonder if I could change the core. The other option is to put this in a window.
Yeah, exactly. Easy with stable internet when you're not streaming. Oh, that's much better. At least on my side. It's still frozen for the preview, but there we go. I think
it's this core, to be honest.
Yeah.
There.
There we are. Yeah.
Let's try
fantastic.
again. There's still 4 players. I don't know if that's supposed to be normal. You probably will press A. Maybe there's like a button that...
Yeah.
Alright. There's only 2 ports here.
Try one of the other modes. You could tell we absolutely did test this in advance.
That's right.
Instead of point match, try, I don't know, time trial.
I actually can't get out of this. Oh, there we go.
Yeah, Battle Royale. Nope. Wait, is this actually one of those games where it literally does not let you play with less than 4 players? It might be.
Maybe, I don't know. I think that maybe it had...
I mean, you can just back out to fighter or something.
I think what happens is that I believe that the emulator believes that there's 4 players plugged in still.
Yeah.
Somehow.
Yeah.
Maybe that's a core specific option. I'm not really seeing any in here.
Yeah, if it's like a CPU, you have to press A. It wasn't accepting any inputs there. But it's fine. Why don't we just try another one before we wrap up?
Yeah. You guys got one more choice.
Oh, you went into training mode. Good music, though.
I haven't played this game in so long.
Oh no, I would be terrible at Perfect Dark. I'm awful at shooters. Although I did play the Banjo-Tooie multiplayer mode where you went into a first-person mode. Does that count?
I don't think it does.
Alrighty, well, we're obviously starting to get into that zone where we're just winding down, so we'll probably do one more, but if anyone has any other last-minute burning questions for the both of us, then of course, please let us know. It's been really fun actually getting to play some games, talk about some games, but also create that playlist as well. We'll get that up in probably next week. We'll have that up on the Discovery Center. And you can see some of those contributions that you guys put in as well, so thank you for that. But yeah, it's been fun. I mean, what can we say about the 12th celebration? It's always a fun week for us.
Always super fun. Definitely always super fun. Now the question is this core and this RetroArch playing well with you?
Yeah, it looks fine. Streets of Rage 2.
We gotta do it.
See, I'm gonna go out on a limb and say I actually never played Streets of Rage 2. Streets of Rage 1 was the one that I played.
Oh.
And I always thought that was amazing, and then everyone is like, oh, 2 is so much better.
Yeah, anyway, I got these like old controllers that sucked just to play Streets of Rage and Final Fight and all those beat 'em ups back in the day. And I had the most fun, just like days. I just remember just beating all of these games.
A lot of love there for Streets of Rage 2, it seems. Which is the one where the final boss pits you against each other. Boilers? I'm not sure, actually. Did you play Streets of Rage 4?
Very little. I do believe I have it. And it's on my list to play. Oops.
Thank you. So we need the ability to integrate old school TV shows and commercials into the screensaver. So it's like watching old shows from the era. See, that's a really interesting topic. And that's a really good idea, by the way. You technically could. You'd have to have your own. You have to have it as your own media. But I mean, one we get asked a lot is, you know, we have an image type for like advertisement flyers, and it would be really nice to have a media type that's like commercials, or what's the other one that people ask a lot? Well, it's mostly like video advertisements.
Yeah, commercials would be a type that you could have if you wanted to stay organized.
Yeah, a lot of people are always quite excited about that. Yeah, every 10 minutes a platform entry comes up, not just the games, and shows like videos around it. I always like, there's a lot of good YouTube channels that do documentary style sort of retrospectives, and they intersperse it with a lot of the obscure Japanese commercials. Excuse me, what are you doing there? Oops, my bad.
Has anybody come across a pack? Because that would be kind of crazy, like a full-fledged pack of video, like commercials for a platform. I'm kind of wondering, because there wouldn't be that many. I doubt. I mean, let's say with Sega Genesis, let's say there was, 700 something games released for it. How many of those actually had commercials back in the day? And then out of those, has anyone bothered to put together a pack of those?
Because all it would be, wouldn't it, is just a new video type, right? We already have videos for video snaps, video gameplay, video commercials, and then the screensaver could let you choose what type of media is displayed.
Yeah, but even if there was a type, it would be all manual all the time. Somebody would have to go through that effort of finding the commercials on YouTube one at a time, downloading them, and then loading them into to LaunchBox and setting the type.
Can't you call a police car in this game like you can in the first one?
I do not remember.
No, that was only in the first one. Because that's all I used to do, is just spam the police car.
Really? Yeah, I think what we'd probably find is that, especially with the old retro games, that there just wasn't commercials being made for the majority of them. So we remember fondly, the ones that we remember watching as kids or found later. But the percentage of them probably is not there, so a lot of them technically would have to remain blank, or you'd fill them in with something creative or something that didn't really exist at the time.
I mean, it's a lot of the first-party console games would have them for those kind of big releases, but yeah, of course, it's like not every single one would. But
yeah, I'd be curious to know. Yeah, I'd be curious to know like how many of them actually do, percentage-wise, per platform. And I don't think anyone actually has put together a pack of them, so I think that effort still has to happen. There are packs of commercials out there, but I don't think there's like extensive packs that are per platform. Now, one of these days, or like
you
forget
just
about
steal
that
all the
effort.
apples.
Oh, I
You stole
took them all.
the apples. You stole all the apples, and then you killed me. Wow, what a dick move.
We're having some fun.
Yeah, like mobsters wouldn't be for every game. Yeah, I guess it's less about each individual
kind
game
of
needing
wondering,
a commercial.
Yeah,
more
I was
just
kind of wondering.
using it as like a sort of playlist of sorts. It's like within a platform, maybe cycle through a couple of old commercials, and it's just supposed to replicate that, old style.
Is that what you want? Or is what you want instead just like random commercials of that era?
That's what Viking Mop is saying. Is more like.
Is that more of
sort
what
of
people would
playlist.
want? a playlist of like 80 to 85, commercials of like
I mean,
toys and
it would be
cereal
nice
and
if
stuff.
it takes into consideration the context you're in. So if you're in a platform for like the NES, it could cycle through like NES commercials, right? It doesn't
So I could
matter
see
that
like
it's-
technically a feature could be created that's like we curate a bunch of commercials for an era. And so let's say there's 20 or 30 commercials per era or something, or 50 commercials per era. And we distinguish what is an era, I don't know, like per 5 years or something.
Oh, you could
And then
even
we
do
put
it
together
per
that
platform.
list, and then we say if that game was released in 1993, play commercials from the 1990 to 1995 pack. And then all of a sudden you'll see like a commercial for, I don't know, Cheerios or something. Could appear.
Well, that's nice. If it's open for all platforms, then the era. But if it's just for the platform, then do it just for the platform.
Yeah, you could have that layer. Be like a full-fledged commercial system.
How do you throw the knife? System launch videos, that's cool. I mean, platform commercials. I mean, that's cool.
Here's the
This is
thing
quite
about
restricted
system
and-
launch videos. So some platforms don't have them, so that out of the gate you have that. Some platforms do, and usually when they do, the platform itself will play that system launch video. Right? If you opened if you started playing an Xbox game, you'll see the Xbox startup video. If you played a Famicom Disk System game, you'll see the Famicom Disk System video. And so having a
I think they're
video
referring
of
more
a video,
to like launch commercials, as in what was the PS3 one, the Crazy Baby one, or the GameCube, where it's like Luigi's Mansion and Wave Race in that big cube. Right?
system
So it's
launch
like
video commercials.
system launch like commercials for the platform.
I
rather than,
went
like,
down
files.
I went down a rabbit hole of that once. Some of them are very weird.
Yeah.
Do you remember what the original PlayStation marketing effort was?
Oh, yeah, I do. Go on. What was it?
It was like super obscure.
Do I remember? I remember the GameCube ones, and I remember the.
Yeah, the GameCube ones were very strange here.
Yeah, that
Also-
2000 era like launch videos was. Cheesy
I'd say
elevator
also-
music.
Yeah.
Ideas running wild in the chat there.
Yeah, I'm
It's
I'm
great
trying to
smell
read
of
what
the
you guys
old-
are saying while playing. It's getting hard.
Viking Mob says we need to integrate the smell of the old arcade cabinet. Sorry, old arcade
Yeah.
carpet in this. I'm sorry.
Do we really want to? Maybe there's some things we should leave to the past.
But I mean, we all joke about it. But like, the fact that we all joke about the same thing, and that secretly we all think it would be kind of cool, means that like there is a big proportion of people out there that would, even though it's nothing to do with like playing the game itself, it's just providing that like little bit of nostalgia on top of the build.
It's true.
It is important. It is important.
I would say that you would then have to also take consideration different regions. Different regions marketed the same platform.
This is
differently.
the product manager's way of thinking about it. It's like there's always something.
I know what I want, right? I'm going to want like a Nintendo Game Boy, Terminator Edition commercial or something. But maybe that never aired in Europe. And so you're going to look at it and be like, what the heck is this?
But at the end of the day,
not
how
what I
many of us
remember.
actually watched any of those commercials? Rather than just like repeating them later on YouTube or seeing them in documentaries. Like, yeah, I'm sure they're the ones that stick with us, but
There's the ones that we stick with us.
We'd be quite happy to see any of the ones that were out there.
So there needs to be some kind of database of this stuff, right? Ones that are telling us, well, this is a commercial for this game from this region that released in this year. Maybe you wouldn't even need a year.
What happened to me? Oh,
what happened to you? Oh, you died.
See, look, that's the first time I died. Whoops! Oh, I didn't want to be Max. Oh well. Alrighty, I mean, we have nearly been going for 3 hours now, so otherwise we'll just be playing Streets of Rage 2 all night.
Yeah, I think this is the last... No.
Yeah, if I've learned anything in the last years, it's that nostalgia sells, for sure. For sure. So I don't know if anyone else has this, so my first experience with games was on the family PC, basically. Just like, Edgy-soft games that your parents buy you, and they're terrible, terrible games, but you have just the absolute best memories of them. And the problem is that PC I no longer have, so I no longer have any of those games, and I don't even remember half of the ones. But there will be times where, I think we discovered it on stream once, was a game that it's almost like it's kind of locked away in the back of your mind, and then someone mentions it, or you find a screenshot of it or a name, and it just like unlocks it, and that game is like so vivid again in your mind. That is such a good feeling, and it's happened to me so many times. And then I'll just go and add it straight to LaunchBox. I'll be like, right, I'll add the entry, because I like to track like which games I previously used to own, and then just have that record.
Yeah, that's insane. I went down the rabbit hole of trying to remember games that I had as a kid, and not remembering anything about it except a vivid memory of what it looked like. And at this point, I think in my life, I've found them all. There was one that took me very many years, decades to find, and finally did find it. I talked about it, I think, on streams in the past, called Moraf's End Trap, that I got from a flea market in Florida, in one of those shareware bins or something. And that, once I realized what that game was called, because nobody ever had played that game except me, it felt like every time I would tell somebody about that game, there wasn't one person that had ever played that game. And so, I felt so good finding that game and reliving that moment, and ever since then, it kind of like completed it for me. Did anybody ever have that moment where you're like, that's it? That's every single game?
I had that moment,
as a kid.
and I thought that was the case, and then I just keep finding new ones. I did one where I was at a car boot sale, and I literally ended up looking through this collection, and it was just not even the box, the disc of this game that I realized that I owned. So I think I found all of them, but...
Oh, you know what I found in a box? An unopened copy of The Curse of Monkey Island. Next to an unopened copy of Grim Fandango.
And how much was it?
No, like out of a box that I own.
Oh.
It was like a wrapped copy of both of those games.
Yeah. I mean, I think the biggest regret, if you could go back and tell child Astro Bob, is not to throw away the cardboard N64 boxes, the cardboard Game Boy Advance boxes. Oh, I don't need this cardboard and this manual. I don't need this. Bad decision.
Feel like we've all had those experiences where we just come to the end of a specific era in your life as a teenager or something, and you end up selling something that you completely regret. I think I sold my original Nintendo games, an original Nintendo, in a freaking garbage bag at a garage sale for like $35 at the time. I did not regret that, but ever since, completely regret that decision. Completely regret it. And spent a long time. And I think if you don't have that kind of experience in your life, you are completely lucky.
I mean, it turns all of us into hoarders in later life, though, because now we're just like, nope, keep all the boxes.
Right. I still have. So I think I was a younger kid when that happened. Maybe like, I don't know how old, but it basically turned me into a hoarder of video games once I became a teenager. And so I used to go to all these video game stores that had retro games at the time. Retro, I guess, only meant the original Nintendo and Super Nintendo. And I would just be buying everything that I could find. Just like crazy. I'd be looking through all their Nintendo games, just buying it all up, trying to get all the games that I had as a kid and more.
You go through a rebuying spree.
And then you learn at a specific age, well, you can't get rid of these boxes. Treat these boxes really well. So from like the Nintendo 64 era and on, I just kept every box. So I've got like the original Nintendo 64 box. They even sold extra controllers in a box. So like a box for a controller.
I mean, that sounds like something you'll have to show us one day.
Yeah, maybe. Went crazy with PC big box games at one point. Bought a whole bunch of them from my childhood.
Thanks for the follow there. Yeah, a lot of nostalgia in the chat here for big box PC games with an absurd amount of floppies.
Yeah, I was going to say the other thing that I regret doing, I had, I think I told you this, I had purchased the Wii version of, I think it was it called Guitar Band? No, it's called like Band Hero or something. The one with like the full band. So I had the drums, I had the microphone, at least one, maybe I had two guitars. I kind of remember having two guitars. And at one point, I just left the drum set. I just left it out at the corner of the house for someone to take. Because it was taking up too much space in the house.
Yep, big regrets.
What a regret.
I've been going through a bit of a rhythm game renaissance. I picked up a new Guitar Hero controller from a company called Cracked, who made a Guitar Hero 3 style Les Paul, and it is, whoops, sorry about that. It is amazing. I really love it actually. And I've been playing with Clone Hero, been playing Guitar Hero 3. That was my game, Guitar Hero 3.
I really need a guitar, I think. At one point, I'm gonna get a guitar back. Doesn't matter which one. I mean, I
Yeah.
have the nostalgia for the Wii just because I had it. You sold your ZX Spectrum.
Yeah, Viking Mops is 30 years to Cycles, all the people dumping their 360s. Yeah, it's true. This is the generation. This is the time to buy secondhand 360s and PS3 games. Like,
Yeah.
any store you go to, like, those games are just in huge amounts.
I had a friend that wanted to dump their Wii U on me. It was when the Wii U was, out. And they were just like, yeah, can you just like buy it? I'll just sell it to you for cheap. And then at the time, I said no. I should have bought it. Yeah, so many regrets. And I'm sure it won't be the end of the regrets, that's for sure.
For sure. But I think before it turns into the stream of our gaming sob stories,
Too
but
late
it is
for
nice
that.
to see everyone else has similar experiences. But yes, we've definitely ended up in the part of the stream where anything goes. So if you're still here, we appreciate it. But we hope you have enjoyed the week and what we've been covering. It's always fun to hang out. I'm on full-on game over now. I don't realize.
I know.
Oh, of course, I don't have infinite continues. But I think that is the game's way of telling us that we're going to start closing it down.
Yeah. It's been a good 3 hours. Hopefully everybody enjoyed the celebration. I think I'm done too. No, I got 2 continues. That's okay.
What? How do you have 2 continues?
I don't know. We'll have to rewatch the stream to find out. But I don't know. Hopefully people had a lot of fun with these last 3 streams. And Leon, the Verdant Orange, you are coming at the very end. We're celebrating 12 years of LaunchBox. Let's go back to LaunchBox, I guess. And the celebration. You can still pick up a discounted version of LaunchBox up until, I believe, Sunday. Yeah, to the 31st. And then it will turn off. So definitely got a few more days. It's been a good year. It's been a good year of LaunchBox. And we've got a lot more to come in the near future and the long-term future. There's a lot of stuff brewing behind the scenes. There's a lot of things that we're doing that will come out over time in the short term and the long term. We're always busy at work. We're always over on the community forums. We're always over on Discord. Check us out. We're always over on the feedback section, the feature-based feedback area, or you can send us an email.
I think
we'll be in one of those places.
Focus really wants that 8BitDo Pro 3, but if it doesn't work in your favor, Focus Break, definitely pick one up because it's getting very good reviews, and I hope you like it. It comes with the little, the like joystick style caps, I believe, which is always fun. And JC says, will there be future streams? We don't have a consistent schedule for the streams, but it's nice to hear that you guys enjoy them, and we will reserve them for back. Sort of events.
Yeah, we want to bring them back in some sort of capacity. I want to do at least one a month. That would be my goal, if that's possible. And we'll talk internally about it, see how much time that we actually have. Because surprisingly, time goes by fast. And we set these deadlines that we want to meet and usually have to go crazy to meet them. So before you know it, it's like a few months have gone by, even though I say I want to do one a month. It's kind of crazy how that happens and continues to happen. But that just means that there's always something going on. I mean, if you guys just want to watch me work, like just be silent and I'm just like work away and I'll just talk to you. Maybe I could do that more often, but that would be kind of funny to watch. It wouldn't be really all that interesting, surprisingly.
It's a nice suggestion about high scores, because that's something that everyone can get involved with. Is MAME high scores, do a little bit of a challenge competition.
100%. That has been on our internal list for a very long time to expand the high score leaderboards, or just leaderboards in general. And we've been thinking about ways that we could do that. We have very, very detailed designs on what we'd want to do in that effort. And it's just all about time, right? All about time. And we just had someone ask, how do you turn off MAME high scores? I just saw some post somewhere. And so it's like, I want to do all this stuff for MAME high scores and kind of spread it out and do all these features that could be completely all for naught if someone just comes and be like, oh, I don't want to use it. I don't want to use MAME high scores. And so it is one of those it is one of those things where I would love to have it, knowing full well people are going to want to instantly turn it off. But that's what LaunchBox is.
Part of the fun.
Lots of features for lots of people, and hopefully that you spend some time, if you don't have a license, that you take advantage of the discount. We always have people coming in after the fact asking for the discount, even though it was been on for like a whole week, and it's always sad to see that happen. So don't let that happen to you if you're one of those people. Outside of that, hopefully we do this again for next year's celebration. It's always fun to do these. We're gonna have more streams before then, so I'm sure I'll see you guys sooner than then. Any last words from you, Astro Bob?
No, well, good. Thanks for hanging out as always. Hope you found the discussions useful. You know where to find us. You know where to reach out. And yeah, have a lovely weekend. Get through that backlog.
All right, guys. Take care, everybody.
Cheers.
Enjoy
Bye.
the rest of the week. Take care. Bye.